lo que decía todavía no he terminado.
El que no quiera creer ni me quiera parar bola,
Que se acerque para acá que yo le muestro la cola.
el que no quiera creer ni me quiera parar bola,
Que se acerque para acá que yo le muestro la cola. Tierra de lindas y hermosas mujeres.
Hola la, hola la. Starting in a few, starting in a few.
Las caleñas son como las flores que vestidas van de mil colores. Ellas nunca entregan sus amores si no están correspondidas. Caminando van por las aceras, contoneando llevan su cintura. Ellas mueven las caderas como los cañaverales. La, 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 la. Ahí.
Hello guys, hello gals, hello NBs, how we doing? It is Friday the 8th of August between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. For me and for you it can be morning, evening or afternoon. Welcome in for another streaming session. Hope you guys are all doing mighty fine. Today I went to the beach with a couple friend of ours, very smart, very like career-wise well-established two people. They have two kids. They're very cute. Their little girl is the fattest little fucking bomb that I've ever seen. I love her a lot. I'm basically her, what do you call it? Her godfather. Me and my future wife are their, the godparents of their kids, and me and her are the best man and woman at their wedding. I hadn't seen them for a couple of months, so it was really nice. It was really hot though. The water was absurdly, and I do mean absurdly wavy, so I didn't even get to properly swim, which basically just gave me a sunstroke because I couldn't cool down on the beach, which fucking sucks. So I'll be semi-tired right now, though I drank a nice little coffee cuppy, which should reintroduce my brain cells into my body. Thank you very much, Mac Gin, for starting us off with those beautiful biddies. How are you motherfuckers doing? I have the same TV wallpaper. Visual Dawn is the goat. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to spice up this very vanilla apartment living room for the streams, and the only thing I can really play with is the screen, so that's the direction I went into. But yeah, very nice day. A little bit hot for my liking. I don't know if you can see, I'm already starting to turn very red. This is not good, but hey, if you gotta pick a cancer, skin cancer isn't the worst. At least I've been told by nobody who's had skin cancer. I'm less sad now because I got my paycheck today. Oh, congratulations, big money rolling in. Congratulations to everyone who has also finished work today. You have managed to survive yet another day in capitalism. That is always a truly impressive feat. So put your legs up, enjoy today's news and theory coverage, and tap yourself on the back, because it's not easy to make it through those gnarly 7 days. And yes, I use the word gnarly today. Thank you, Carl Vinger, for the 17 months. Child soldier reporting from fascist country of Sweden. Oh, here, shout out to Sweden, though. We wouldn't have this shit without you guys, okay? Zins that actually have tobacco in them and that are not flavored, but that actually just taste like nothing, like a little bit of acidity, and you get the full effect. So Sweden not so bad. Sweden not so bad, especially because you're there, and snus that isn't a demon to your taste palette is enough for me to fuck with Sweden, okay? You and snus that is actually made for normal human beings. Skin cancer is usually more deadly because people ignore it for too long. Yeah, there you go. I learned something new today. More deadly than other cancers on average, or what are we talking about? Anyways, what are we going to cover today? Today's theory segment is going to be the new aesthetic of fascism and AI therapy. But today's news segment is going to be about the full confirmation by Israel, the complete mask off moment, ironic being said, in a mask by the Zionist terrorist genocidal dog-fucking entity when it comes to their full occupation of Gaza and the creation of basically traitor legions, so-called civilian governments in Gaza that will allow Israel to de facto control them as they dedicate themselves to further ethnic cleansing and eventual full occupation. And that full occupation, eventual full settlement over what we define as the territory of Gaza. Let's start out with that little bit of news. Then we're going to move into some news about some fascist pastor that apparently has very big influence on the defense secretary. We might, of the United States of America, we might even watch some videos because apparently this Christian nationalist pastor has posted on the internet before. Thank you, Pandas, for adding that to the list. Then we're going to check out the new South Park issues coming to us straight from the mouth of the machine. Apparently, South Park has been the highest streamed, the most watched show in the United States of America since they came back with a new season. Their marketing worked really well because they managed to both rile up conservatives to go like, I'm going to hate watch, and liberals to go like, they make fun of Trump, so I'm going to click. We're going to watch the coverage, and then we're actually going to watch the episode, most likely 100% fully legally. I have purchased it. I have been granted full rights to react to it by myself. Watch party a little bit later. I think it's going to be a very, very good episode. Let's start out with what the Zionist demons are doing over in Gaza.
Massive protests are being seen across Israel right now after Israel's security cabinet approved a plan from the
a solution to the so-called terrorism from Gaza's captive population, a final solution, one might say. Yep. Unironically funny. Hope all is well, Hugo. I'm feeling hella proud as I managed to explain to my liberal friend how the bourgeois got to power and other theory stuff. I'm doing well, and I'm really glad you are propagandizing your friends. It's the most fun thing to do in your free time until you become annoying, and then it becomes weird. But no joke. Good on you, man. Good on you. Okay, let's start out with the news. Let's see how CNN manages to spin this, or if they're at all going to try and spin this, because they are to an extent co-opting the narrative around Gaza right now as a Democrat talking point, which is as ironic as it gets.
Prime Minister to expand its military operation in Gaza and take full control of Gaza City. Benjamin Netanyahu explained the objective of this escalation this way.
In order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel.
An Israeli source tells CNN that the goal is for the first phase of the plan to be complete by...
I mean, to an extent, he is honest. When you have an apartheid regime where one piece of your population is treated like a complete subhuman, they will always want the destruction of said system and said regime and said so-called country. If you want an apartheid regime to not have anyone who wants to destroy said apartheid regime, you have to kill every single one of them. And in this case, it's the entire Palestinian population. It is contradictory, yes. The existence, Palestinians being alive, is unironically contradictory to the Israeli state existing, because it's like, of course, it's contradictory for mice to exist in a country ran by cats that only feed on mice.
October 7th, the 2-year anniversary of the Hamas terror attacks that started this war, a deadline chosen intentionally for its symbolism. That plan will include the forced evacuation of about 1 million Palestinians from northern Gaza to the southern part of the enclave. The move is drawing criticism from around the globe as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsens by the hour. The families of the Israeli hostages released a statement
called... The world's most successful settler colonial project, the United States of America, managed to be as successful because they ended up exterminating the population that they were settling. That's it. If you want to fully settle a particular territory, eventually you must kill every single person who opposes said settler program. And every single settled citizen or non-citizen will oppose the settler project. So you have to kill every single one of them.
Calling the plan a colossal catastrophe, adding the only way to bring the hostages home is through a comprehensive deal, no more feudal war. CNN's Matthew Chance is in Jerusalem with much more on all of this. Matthew, what are you learning?
Sup, lesbian hot
Well,
sauce.
first of all, Kate, it took more than 10 hours overnight here in Israel for the Security Cabinet to debate and finally agree on this idea, this strategy of conquering the whole of Gaza and establishing Israeli military control over vast areas.
Yeah, the debate probably looked like, hey, should we send in bodies or should we only bomb, or should we let anyone settle, or should we only let the most patriotic citizens settle? Like, should we shoot Palestinians only above the age of 5 or also under the age of 5? That was the debate. The debate wasn't on whether to do it. The debate was on how to do it, okay? Between wiser members of the genocidal apartheid regime of Israel who are like, let's at least pretend that Palestinians have some sort of self-governance, and the alternative, which is just like, no, we will do open military occupation. The reason I call the first category wiser is because it is just logistically more sound. You want a Quisling regime to pretend to have certain authority over its population in order to pacify it a lot easier than you would with an actual long-term military occupation, right? You pacify a very large part of the population by basically lying to them that they are represented in government. Very ironically, the people who have best developed this approach of modern invasion tactics is the Nazis, right? Sure, you had so-called Quislings and local authority that was ran by imperialist states over in their colonies before, but in the modern context of modern military invasion and occupation and genocide, the way we're seeing it in Gaza, it was developed pretty much by the Nazis. I mean, that's why we call it Quisling, Google Quisling, based on what kind of individual who did what in World War II. Okay? Fun story, Quisling was shot in the back of the head in the fortress in Oslo. Yeah. All Quislings eventually got killed.
Are large numbers of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And the fact that it took so long to get to that point is a reflection of just how much division there is in the Israeli government, and by extension, how much division there is in the Israeli public about whether this is the right way forward or not. Certainly, it's something that Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, has been pushing hard for. But there are reservations, not least amongst the army and the military here in Israel, who have been...
I love how on CNN we are having a civil conversation about active military intervention and occupation of foreign territory by one state over another. Okay, the other one might not be recognized by as many territories, by as many states around the world as the first one, but that is what this is, okay? Let's throw all the screaming and screeching about how this is the 21st century and you don't get to just put guns in the arms of your soldiers and send them marching across borders. Let's forget that whole spam of 2 years of herder, evil dictator pitches coming to us both from CNN and Fox News when it comes to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Let's forget about all of this and let's fully dedicate ourselves to the special military operation of Israel through its necessary temporary civil occupation of the Gazan territories, or whatever fucking way they're framing this at this point. Reminder that today is the anniversary of Poopgate. Dave Matthews Band incident. Thank you for the reminder. Calling Social Democrats quislings here in Sweden for their support of NATO membership is kind of fun. Yeah, I feel that. That could work. Israel will collapse, but if the genocide succeeds and the indigenous Palestinians can be subjugated through the legal system rather than through the military, like the Native Americans, only then will Israel's society act like they'd be different and would oppose the genocide along with like 10 anti-Zionist Jews and organizations like Mezarvot. People will always have been against this only when the atrocities have passed. Of course, this is the famous stages of colonialism. Argument. If most Palestinians are successfully exterminated and Israel establishes itself as no longer an apartheid system because it doesn't need to apartheid and segregate anyone because it's going to just be the dominant ethno-religious group governing the country, and they to an extent liberalize, the next step of settler colonial denial will be, oh my God, it's past, what can we do now? We are integrating the 12 Palestinians that are left. The way that the United States is integrating or giving some sort of sovereignty to Native Americans who still live in the United States of America, right? You know, the casinos and the reservats, I don't know what the fuck they're called in English, and so on. That's obviously like all, including the Israelis. The Israelis themselves, Israeli administration itself will become anti-oppression of Palestinians once there's no Palestinians left. Okay? Because that's the next best pitch you are supposed to give to your population and to the world in order to whitewash or quite literally wash away the sins of your state and of your system when it comes to its settler colonial project. TLDR, what I'm trying to say is they just they say that it was bad after they do it. Because what's anybody going to do about it after they've successfully done it? The Americans say what they did to the Native Americans is bad, but okay. It's like tapping themselves on the back. It's like, ooh, I'm going to be held accountable for my actions. But like all the people that should be held accountable for the actions are literally dead now. And little, systemic crumbs that you do throw the way of the ethnicity that you completely massacred in order to establish your state is borderline offensive when it's compared to what was done to said ethnicity. Thank you, I know some stuff very much for all the subscriptions, my friend. 19 months you've been here from the get-go. How will we be able to push back against the hordes of bots supporting propaganda, the new age feudal lords by armies? On credibility, my Ludditism intensifies, but no, onwards to revolutionary optimism. I believe that we will win. Absolutely 100%. When it comes to fighting the hordes of bots supporting propaganda in the literal sense and all the money that all of those guys get, all the reactionaries get, it's thanks to people like you. I know some stuff that have supported me for 19 fucking months, that fledgling content creators or platforms all over the internet that pitch a socialist agenda are able to survive. Okay, they say, hi, racism good, $1 million in bank account. Hi, oil very good, $1 million in bank account. Okay, The laziest fucking content on planet Earth. While us, we have to basically beg on the fucking internet like pathetic fucking slobs. And thank God there are some people as kind as you and all the other subscribers that come and fucking throw some fucking change at us, because alternatively, there's no way you can do this shit. That reminds me of the Catholic Church apologizing for the things they did hundreds of years ago. The atrocities happened, but we apologize, so nothing can be done now. It wasn't the fault of the people issuing the apology. Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, it's that's truly winning. That is truly winning. That is truly bringing your project to fruition. When you're apologizing to corpses, when you, who has nothing to do, who is a part of an institution, but has nothing to do with the individuals who had committed an atrocity, are now apologizing to dead people. That's when you know you won. Because and that's the greed. That's the greed of the whole fucking situation. Because you both want to be powerful and large and stand on the corpses of millions, and feel morally superior. Right? As the apology would clean the dirt off of your institution. No, it will never clean the dirt off of your institution. There is no amount of water that can clean the Israeli project, or the Nazi project, or the Italian fascist project, or most reactionary, ultra-nationalist ideas, movements, and atrocities committed all over the world. So no,
Wonderful.
don't give them
A
the
new
little
child soldier.
moral pity
Subscriber.
of saying, oh, okay, thank you for your apology for something that happened 1 billion years ago. Soon they will always have been against this genocide. I see it happen in my local political organizations. Of course, man. Of course. Thank you, Pangerzito, very much for the 12 months, my friend, with Prime. Thank you very much. Pangerzito. I love your name. Very nice name.
Enduring nearly 2 years of conflict now on various fronts, and it's a reserve-based army, and there's a sense of exhaustion. And
Hvala ti, Epicentar, dobrodošao, druže. Uvek mi je jako lepo da vidim ljude iz naših krajeva. Hvala ti puno. Pizza Famine, and your institution already profited from those past atrocities. Absolutely. There can be very long conversations that we can have about, reparations and so on. And even if you are pro-reparations, which is a perfectly legitimate attitude to have, it's putting a Band-Aid on graves. Like, it's sure it would do some good, but it's once something is passed, once whatever institution is quote unquote won, it's won. Okay? North America is colonized. It's done. All the rights and all the reparations and all the land back, for example, Native Americans might receive and probably should receive, don't get me wrong, the amount that it will change is absurd. It's cope. Come on. Doesn't mean that it shouldn't happen. It just means that, it's addressing the consequences of a war that's already over. That's why it's very important to talk about, for example, Gaza, because this is not already over. It's far from over. Let us not have to have conversations about the ethics of an Israeli state after the genocide is over. Okay? Let us not have to discuss whether apologies should be accepted in 2065 by Israelis who were not alive during these atrocities, right? Let's not get to that point. Because if we get to that point, that's intellectual masturbation. It contributes to nothing. Palestinians are in graves. Yet with the natives, the U.S. gave them land, but still takes it when they please. Old promises mean nothing. Yeah, even if they didn't take it back when they please, it's They are buying their own moral compass. They are buying off their guilt. They are making sure to cover all corners, to not look like hypocrites when presenting themselves as this beautiful democratic state that deserves to directly or indirectly govern over the rest of the world because they are the most ethical. You know, they might have done something bad in the past, for example, to Native Americans, but now they give them, you know, some land. So they're doing something to contribute. Sure, they are. I mean, I do not even want, like, I think it's important to look at now. It's important to stop shit like this. Not have these long, borderline liberal debates about what is to be done after a genocide is finished. What is to be done after an occupation is successful? What is to be done to appease whatever percentage of the victims are still left alive?
Overstretch that the Israeli military has frequently complained about. The Palestinians, of course, tens of thousands of them who have already been killed, a humanitarian catastrophe, a hunger crisis unfolding in the Gaza Strip. More military action on the part of Israel is likely to compound that suffering. And so that's one of the reasons why there's been such international condemnation as well. But also the hostage families. There are still I think 50 people who are being held inside the Gaza Strip, who were taken hostage on October the 7th, 2023. 20 of them are still believed to be alive. And the hostage families, as well as the vast majority of Israelis, according to the most recent opinion polls, very much want an end to the war, an end to the fighting, a return to normality, and of course the return of those people back home. But
you see, this is a very classic spin. They want an end to the war because they're being sent to the front. They're being forcibly recruited to the IDF. They are seeing their pockets drain because the economy is unstable. They want it to end because they don't fuck with Netanyahu in particular, etc., etc. They don't want the apartheid regime to end on average, and they don't want Palestinians to have any sort of autonomy also on average. So this is spinning it really hard. This is spinning it really, really hard. By end of the war, they basically mean they want to genocide them all, pretty much. Liberals are literally waiting for this genocide to become an issue of the past so that they can claim to be on the side of justice, even though throughout these past 2 years, they've done more harm than good. I was always against this type of shit. Absolutely. Dude, because liberals only give a shit about fighting duels of pity towards those who have already been massively harmed, right? They don't want to stop harm, you know. They want to be the first to pat a minority on the back after a hate crime was done to them. They don't want to stop the hate crime.
There is one group of people inside Israel that want the military campaign to expand. They want it to be doubled down on. And that's the sort of far right.
Same way I double down on you subscribing and avoiding the ad. Like the ad that is going to play in exactly 10 seconds. Support the show. Let us hit our daily sub goal and allow us to continue operating the way we have for now. Thank you very much for even considering it. Now, did you hear about Germany stopping exports of arms that could be used in Gaza to Israel? the tide has turned so much, even Germany does stuff like this to have plausible deniability, but without stopping arms export or trade in general. Yes, this is all plausible deniability. That is why they're doing too little, too late, as they say. But sure, this is a type of cope that I do encourage, at least for myself. What I'm talking about specifically is, there is a very, very objective shift in the perspective by members of the executive branches of most of Europe, but also even in the United States. There is fatigue over just how worth the Israeli project, the Israeli Zionist project specifically, is versus the political fallout that their active support of Israel can cause. And most European politicians, what they're doing right now and what they will continue to do is toe this a very thin line where they, how do I put this, where they, where for domestic consumption, they tell everyone that they're doing their best to limit the amount of power Israel can exert over its Palestinian population, while when it comes to foreign policy, continue to directly or indirectly support them. Right? So most of this, I believe, is for internal consumption, because the polls show that most people almost everywhere support Palestinians in this struggle. So they have to readjust, but they also have to follow the commands of their military-industrial complex, and most importantly of Big Daddy United States of America, where the current Republican and Democratic Party seem to firmly continue to support Israel, even though that's wobbling. What we should hope for is a switch from this being just a pitch for domestic consumption into actual foreign policy by specifically the United States of America, which is the provider of pretty much almost all of the tools of genocide that the Israelis are using, right? I've been feeling powerless. It finally dawned on me that I am doing something. I'm making sure every single person around me will never be able to use the cowardly excuse, but I didn't know, and I think that's worth a lot. Yes, it is, my friend. Absolutely it is. We are already seeing in the United States one of the greatest pivots, one of the greatest changes in the perception of the population of one country, in this case, the United States of America. They're very radical switch when it comes to their view of the Palestinian struggle, even after pretty much half a century of Zionist propaganda being injected into their brain cells. It is truly, truly an impressive feat, and it is thanks to people like yourself. Thank you very much, Darkwing Cuck, for the 5 gifties. Paint the chat motherfucking purple. Thank you very, very much, my friend. Let's fucking go. Oil me the fuck up. What you're saying is basically liberal guilt tripping, where they basically blame modern Western Europeans for colonialism of the past, and that they should just constantly apologize instead of actually ending the system that led to the colonialism in the first place. Yes, and more importantly, in ending colonialism that is continuing, right? You can. It's one thing, and it's relatively correct. It's one thing to, for example, point at the French and say the colonization of the French state by the French state of like huge parts of the world was super fucked up. Okay, you're engaging in very nice intellectual debate. You are sharing a wider and more complex understanding of what happened back then. But this is intellectual back and forth. This is analyzing history from which we should learn. I get that point, etc., etc. But the point is from which we should learn. What does from which we should learn mean? It doesn't just mean for you to have developed your attitudes towards it. No, learning actually means applying that shit. It is no longer the role of philosophers to simply analyze the world. It is time for them to change it. So yes, when we point at Western Europeans and we're like, hey there, you was colonizer and shit, you was fucking evil and shit, that is all correct, but we should not just engage. That's the difference between liberals and, for example, communists. The liberals just want to point at that and like guilt trip. Communists don't want to guilt trip. They want to show what happens to regular everyday people, especially in those colonies, when you do colonization, which should then turn into policy which stops, for example, French colonization that still to this day continues soft and very hard in some cases all around Africa, and even further, right? TLDR, liberals want to be like, ha ha, Europeans, colonizers, you bad, ha ha. All correct, right? But communists want like, ha ha, European colonizers bad. You see why bad? Now stop doing it. That's the difference. Liberals do fucking moral masturbation. That's why we call it liberal moralism. It's a game to them. It's like, who's more right? Who's less right? But that doesn't stop Macron from going out and saying colonialism was bad and then continue doing colonialism, right? Because a liberal, to him, it is enough for Macron to say colonialism was bad. To a communist, it is not. A communist needs to see some fucking action. It's not about being right. It's about fucking policy. It's about fucking applying a particular analysis to the current state of things and changing it. That's the difference. The biggest enemy of the people are the politicians and the people in charge. Absolutely. While I don't disagree, the descendants of colonizers and slavers are still reaping the benefits. It might not be their fault, but restitution is still due. Yeah, I didn't say that restitution is bad. All I'm saying is that there is a difference in just participating in this bad, this good, and seeing why this bad, why this good, and making sure it doesn't happen again. Yes, of course, and the colonialism of today, not forgetting that. You're right, it's just hard for me sometimes to say shit. No, you made a very good point. No, I jumped off of what you're trying to say. Liberals are comfortable receiving crumbs of global imperialist exploitation. They don't want to challenge a system that they benefit from despite being exploited. Yes, how do we even put this? The difference between a liberal, for example, a white liberal and a white communist. Okay, let's imagine white liberal and white communist. They take the bus to work every day. They're both racist. Both of them, when they sit down, they see a black person entering the bus and sitting next to them, they clutch their pearls and they even maybe move another chair to the left, right? Then a liberal and a communist are given context for why they have racial bias. They actually learn a little bit about it. They learn about white privilege. They learn about material exploitation. They learn about systemic racism, blah, blah, blah. Both of them learn the same thing. Okay? What is the difference between the two? The liberal who is now, quote unquote, no longer racist, will continue to post on Twitter about how racism bad, will continue to lament about how they really do have white privilege and how that is a bad thing. But when they go into the same bus and they see the same black person, they will proceed to clutch their pearls and to go sit at the other end of the motherfucking bus. They do it in order to feel good, okay? In order to tap themselves on the back, but they do not act on it. A communist acts on it. I'm making it as absurd. My example is so fucking absurd. It is insanely absurd. It is brutally absurd. It's borderline offensively absurd. But that's what I'm trying to say, okay? A liberal wants to say colonialism bad. A communist wants to say colonialism bad and let's stop doing for a very long time tomorrow, so we're going to be listening to this. W. Phil, man. It was a filibuster.
Fracks and retrieving the hostages that way. I mean, they're not the majority in the country, but they do hold significant cards in
Kubashi, I'll answer a little bit later, my friend.
Benjamin Netanyahu's fragile coalition. If they withdrew their support, that coalition would fall. And so the fact that Netanyahu now is pushing for an extension of the conflict is again raising all these allegations inside Israel that this is a politically motivated move, that is extending the war for his own political benefit to preserve his political coalition. And so it's into that sort of fractured environment.
Okay, so we're reintroducing the conversation that it is not a systemic problem, it is not a Zionist problem, it is the problem of the right wing of Israel, defined by Netanyahu's existence, who really just wants to kill so many Palestinians, wants to kill millions of Palestinians and settle billions of Palestinians, while the rest of the more normal and more well-established Israeli left just wants to kill hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and settle tens of thousands of Palestinian homes.
That this decision to conquer the whole of Gaza has been taken.
Do you get?
It's like the Strasserites have criticized Hitler for his radical attitudes towards the Holocaust. Okay, the Strasserites believe that all of the minorities should be put on trains and removed from the country by being settled in parts of North Africa and East Asia. They believe that what Hitler wants to do by putting them in gas chambers is truly unbelievably wicked and evil. The only parts of the minorities that should be shot are, of course, the communists. The rest should be only forcibly, humanely removed from their homes. This is coming to us straight from the Strasserite headquarters. And we, for one, here at CNN, support them over the Hitlerites. Now, some might say that this is also incredibly inhuman, but we must remind you not to be insane communists who propose unrealistic solutions. For don't you remember when and then gives arguments like October 7th-esque arguments towards why both the Hitlerites and the Strasserites are correct in completely annihilating their minorities without, while supporting the less radical one. As somebody who watches Israeli news damn near daily, you basically hit it on the news. The better comparison is the Democratic Party when it comes to the global war on terror. Oh, yeah, that works as well. Like Obama, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen too many casualties in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. So what I propose is limiting the casualties. Of course, by casualties, I mean American citizens. We will no longer be deploying troops in active war zones. Instead, we will almost exclusively be drone striking our enemy targets and our enemy civilian targets. Oh, how did I say civilian? Just enemy targets, right? It's do we kill more Palestinians by using the IDF really fast and potentially losing IDF soldiers, or do we kill them off slow from the sky?
The sense.
Blaming Netanyahu is always the liberal Zionist off-ramp. Of course, because they don't understand systems. You cannot explain what Zionism means to a liberal, right? The same way you can't explain it to a full right-winger. Because a full right-winger will immediately think you're telling them that anti-Semitism is correct and based, which of course it isn't. And a liberal will genuinely be confused and probably call you anti-Semitic because a liberal de facto cannot understand how systems work, how they motivate behavior, and how they normalize acts of great violence in this case, or acts of this or that type of oppression. To them, to a liberal, it is all individuals acting at each other. And different parties can direct individuals a little bit better or worse to do things very differently, even though they are still doing it in the same system. It is stupidity. It is not how the world works. Objectively not how the world works. Liberals think witnessing and knowing about atrocities is enough for actions. We must stop them from this. We must not allow for pathetic apologies upon the piles of corpses on the Gazan mass graves. I want to see a Palestine that is free and flourishing, not a Palestine that's a dead, empty memory, what it once was, and that's why I'm working on helping out 2 Gazans. That's very cool. May not be enough. No, that is fantastic. Don't modesty is liberal capitalist propaganda, okay? No room for modesty in capitalism.
That this is potentially a negotiating tactic to put pressure on Hamas, or do you think Israel will actually go through with this?
Well, it's a good question, because unlike war games or simulation games, once this begins, everyone loses control over the how it evolves. Meaning that if Hamas is undeterred by this supposed bluff.
What kind of an insane question is this? Is this a genius way that the Israelis are attempting to manipulate the evil Hamas terrorists? Or is that them revealing all their cards? Like, absolutely no mention of the fact that they are talking about settling an occupied territory and overtaking foreign territory. Something that is illegal under every single law and perspective and moral compass on planet Earth. Something that they screamed at the Russians for doing in Ukraine. Oh. Like how... you are talking about the same army that just basically massacred most people in this particular piece of land, potentially moving in and then fully occupying it, as if it's a conversation about watermelon sizes or what color the next New York cop parade should sponsor, blue or green. Hypocrisy, yes, hypocrisy, but also just like eternal liberal brain rot. We have normalized casually talking about what level of genocide is acceptable. Do we just genocide them afar, or do we occupy? This is something that you can play on prime time in CNN. A conversation on what type of genocide is a more chill genocide. That is insane. We are sick. We are exceptionally sick.
Then Israel begins the evacuation of Gaza City and begins a even fuller military occupation. And there's no such thing as temporary occupation. This has been said correctly, and he's a veteran on these issues. This is going to go on for many, many years. And so what
I must add, the thing that pissed me off a lot is when Western white liberals claim that the primary principal contradiction of America and Israel is wage labor. It's like, bro, are you fucking stupid? It's colonialism. You have to be a deeply disconnected white person to think it's your wages. That's the principal contradiction, and not the fact that we're a white supremacist disconnected hellhole. Like my friends who are indigenous had their grandparents and some of their parents in reservations. Yeah, of course. That is the ground that that settler colonial states are pretty much built on. Just there is still something to be done about this particular settler colonial state. When it comes to the United States, it's the United fucking States.
What looks now as some kind of a cunning and sophisticated and savvy negotiating tactic is going to end up with Israel occupying the Gaza Strip. Now, you have to understand, Kim, it's not as if Mr. Netanyahu has a plan to occupy Gaza. No, he has a plan to extend the war. He wants to prolong the war. He wants the war to go on. Occupation means you own the place.
He wants to
that means you take care of 2.3 million Palestinians. That
yeah, take care. Yeah. Oh, the way you take care of them in Tel Aviv, right? Oh my God.
Means you take care of humanitarian aid. That means you take care of health services. That means that at some point, you called it correctly imaginary, Kim. There's going to be some kind of an alien spaceship is going to land, and out of it will come a civilian administration. Where's that coming from? There's no plan. This is a lot of bluster. But as I said, it begins as, okay, this is not serious. Maybe this is a negotiating ploy. Before you know it, this is going to go on for a long time. And I have to add, from a diplomatic dimension, Kim, it makes the U.S. look very silly here. It makes Trump's pledges and commitments look very hollow and ineffective. And it just goes back to vindicate all those who have said that Mr. Netanyahu is waging this war and protracting it just for political reasons rather than political objectives.
Right. So on that, I want to ask you, what role do you think President Trump may have played here? Do you think?
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether Israel is talking about permanent occupation as a way to to take the so-called war into its next stage, which will elongate it, or if they're very serious about occupation, which will basically create a new dynamic between Israel and its genocidal project, right? TLDR, what this fucking dude is saying basically is, they're just using this as a way to give the Israeli population a excuse to continue current operations, but even if he's not in the current operations or genocide, versus them actually doing occupation, which is also just another stage of genocide. It's whatever. Like it's like, are they just starving them out in the Warsaw Ghetto, or do they go into the Warsaw Ghetto? Like, motherfuckers in the Warsaw Ghetto gonna die. Just the question is how they're gonna die, and that's of course from the perspective of Israeli strategists and multiple parties debating this whole thing. It's Drasserites versus Nazis. It's for the Palestinians, both options simply mean faster or slower.
The Trump administration will have agreed to this, or at least tacitly given the green light?
Yeah, but there are two ways of looking at that. I mean, the last statement that President Trump made on this issue was a few days ago when he said, well, I think it's mostly up to Israel. And that was interpreted, as you said, as some kind of a green light. But here are the two ways of looking at it. One is Trump wants to break the impasse, and so he's saying to Israel, okay, let's see what you could do. What you haven't succeeded in doing for 22 months, almost 23 months, almost 2 years, you think you can do now, but be my guests. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. The second is that Trump is basically saying, I've had enough, plague on both your houses. I have other things to deal with. I'm meeting Putin next week on the issue of Ukraine. I have the tariffs to manage. I have domestic issues in America. I don't care. Meaning that Israel will be left owning Gaza, and that green light is going to turn very sour and very burdensome.
Well, yeah, especially,
Very burdensome. He's pitching it like, oh, this is going to be really complicated for the Israelis. Like, Palestinians do not enter this conversation whatsoever. And I love how they are inviting an Israeli former member of state to talk about the destiny of Palestinians. Like, not a single Palestinian is involved in the conversation on what should be done to Palestinians. Isn't that fucking incredible, Chad?
As you sort of touched on here, if you rule out both Hamas and especially the Palestinian Authority running Gaza, you ask the question, who exactly is supposed to govern some 2 million Palestinians, and why would Gazans accept them?
They won't.
Yeah.
They won't. Which is why Ben Wiedemann was absolutely on the money when he said this is a quagmire in the making. we're looking at a slow motion development of a quagmire. To put it for our viewers in context, in a little context, in 2 sentences, in late 2023, the Biden administration,
Mustafa
and then
Barghouti.
again in 2020.
Okay, I don't want to platform this fucking talking head anymore. Let's move
Mustafa
on to this here.
Barghouti, Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative. Mustafa, you're joining us from Ramallah. It's good to get your views on this today. Several times, in fact, many times since October 7th, Benjamin Netanyahu has promised the Israeli people and indeed the world that there is this one next thing that Israel and the Israeli military need to get done. You know, at some point it was seizing Rafah in the south of the Gaza Strip. At another point, a little later, it was strangling the north of the Gaza Strip. And there's always something over the horizon. And he seems to be saying one, and it's the same thing that we're seeing here again. Next thing is take Gaza City. And that apparently could deliver Israel's elusive victory. We wanted your thoughts on that.
Well, Netanyahu is the biggest liar in modern history. He's a true liar in everything he says, and that's what most Israelis know. He has been lying about his care about Israeli captives or prisoners. He now is going to kill them, as was reported by you. He used to say that he wants to have a ceasefire agreement. He himself undermined every possibility of a ceasefire. He lied all the time about the fact that his goal is the destruction of Hamas, and actually his goal, as we can see, is the destruction of all the Palestinian people. In reality, the goal of this war has...
Good morning. The sun is rising. Yeah, okay. Fucking.
Been the same from the very first days. It is the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian population of Gaza. The whole population. He wants to occupy all of
This interview is from an hour ago, by the way.
Gaza without taking the responsibility for the occupied people. And then he wants to push everybody out, not only of Gaza City, but later from the central areas to a concentration camp, the worst ever concentration camp in human history, and then force Palestinians out of Gaza. This has been his plan, and it was not hidden.
Exactly. And what I said earlier, the only discussion is how do we do this? Do we do this through an active occupation force and through a quisling civilian so-called government that is going to help us bring it to fruition faster with greater risks to our own army? Or do we continue doing it the way we're doing it right now? Why they're pushing for occupation, again, is twofold. Either to just have an argument given to Trump to sell to his domestic population as, oh, I tried to do what I can. Israel is its own sovereign state. Let them do with this whatever they want. Or is it an actual plan that they want to see come to fruition? That's the big question that we cannot answer right now. Is this just a ploy to continue things as they are now, or are they actually interested in fully occupying a foreign sovereign territory?
Smotrich spoke about it. Ben Gvir spoke about it. Netanyahu himself spoke about it when he repeatedly said he will allow voluntary immigration. What kind of voluntary immigration when you destroy all people's homes and you deprive people from food and you push them into starvation? And now you are...
The occupation will also probably not allow them to rebuild almost any infrastructure, right? That's what an occupation does.
Killing them. The fact that he wants to evict everybody from Gaza City, what does it mean? 1 million people. Where should they go? There is no place to go to. And he will be bombarding them, causing a terrible massacre. In reality, what I have to say, what many Western leaders don't want to listen to, is that this is a beginning of a terrible second Holocaust caused by the same people whose ancestors suffered from...
Oh, not the beginning. It's been fucking happening for a while now.
Another Holocaust in the Second World War.
But Mustafa, the argument you're making, and you're certainly not the only one to make it, that ultimately Netanyahu and his government, their goal is to reduce the size of the population in Gaza, push Palestinians out of the Strip. I mean, there is no doubt that they have laid waste to the Strip, that they have inflicted immense suffering upon the Palestinian people, but they haven't actually managed to push them out of the Strip. That hasn't happened. So realistically, where does Netanyahu and the far right who are pushing for this plan, where do they realistically think this will end up? Because Egypt says it's not taking the Palestinians, Jordan is not going to take them. The international community, to the extent that there's a red line here, the international community has laid this as the red line, that Palestinians shouldn't be made to leave Gaza.
My friend in Gaza Central says that their timeline is 1 month. He is very doomer. Understandably, he's lived through 2 years of fucking genocide, and says that the Israelis are being unrealistic with their timeline. It will take 5 months for them to take Gaza City at shortest, according to him. Thank you for the inside information, brother. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The IDF is an occupying force. It's a fucking basically a apartheid police force that absolutely sucks when it comes to fighting on the actual front. So if they, in order to properly occupy, you do need bodies on the ground, and without constant, unyielding and unending aerial support, quite literally making them OP. The IDF will have a very, very tough time, not just taking over, but keeping particular territories. I can't even imagine the amount of suffering and the amount of logistics necessary for you to occupy people that hate you with every cell of their being and soul after having lived through, 2 years of an active genocide and over, fucking 70, 80 years of occupation.
Like every settler colonial system, he dreams about annihilation of the Palestinian people, whether by killing them or starving them or pushing them out of their country. And by the way, that applies not only to Gaza Strip, but also to the West Bank. And we have to say that he would not have dared to go that far in his plans if it wasn't for the American support, if it wasn't for the fact that
the resistance is devastated, though you must understand how truly disastrous this whole conflict has been for them. And not just for the resistance in Gaza, let's be fucking honest. Yeah, I agree. But the contradiction with Israel is that even one dead IDF soldier, or 2 IDF soldiers, or 5 IDF soldiers is a massive political, IDF soldiers in caskets are a massive political problem for the current Israeli establishment. So everybody's basically trying to avoid that, and you can't really avoid that with active occupation. You can't really minimize that with active occupation. Even when there's not a lot of windows to shoot from, there's a lot of rubble to shoot from.
Trump and his administration gave him the green light to go ahead with what he's doing now. And the remarks of the American State Secretary are an indication of that. They are supporting what Netanyahu is doing. No, his goal is annihilation of the Palestinian people. His goal is a second Nakba. In 1948, Israel, with its terror and terrorist groups, forced 70% of the Palestinian population out of their country. 523 Palestinian communities and villages were destroyed. 70% of the population of Gaza today are refugees from 1948. And now he wants to push them out of Palestine completely. That's the reality. They try to repeat what they have done in 1948. Then nobody noticed because the news were not there, were not everywhere. Today, all these crimes, whether we are talking about starvation, whether we are talking about genocide, whether we are talking about ethnic cleansing, these crimes are happening in front of the eyes of the whole world. And in my opinion, any country in the world that does not initiate punitive acts against Israel, does not initiate sanctions against Israel immediately to deter it from committing this crime, will be complicit with these terrible crimes in the 21st century.
Do you think Israel will still have, as it carries out this new military plan, total impunity? I mean, that has pretty much been the case so far, but there's strong...
Yes, it will. Though there will be, let's call it anti-Israeli, very soft anti-Israeli foreign policy for domestic consumption in Europe, and even to some extent in North America, but that will, again, just be for domestic consumption because they understand that the vast majority of their voting body no longer supports Israel in this genocide. But they will not distance themselves. That is cope to believe that they will. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep pushing the rhetoric and that we shouldn't keep changing opinions, because the effect is obviously snowballing. But to think that if they move into full occupation, there will immediately be that we will immediately see the international community go, Israel bad now. By international community, I'm using the meme version of it, only countries west of Berlin. That won't happen. Diaper forces are already getting smoked so hard they're having trouble getting reserve units up. Do they think they're going to completely take over without watching number go up? Number going to go up for sure.
International condemnation.
That's the big question. That's the only thing stopping them, really. The only thing stopping the IDF from having at this point exterminated every single Gazan is twofold. They suck at their fucking job, and they are not willing to die for the cause. That's it. They're not willing to die for the cause, and the civilian population is not willing to see their sons die for the cause. That's why Palestinians are still alive. And of course, because of the very brave Palestinian resistance. So obviously never undermine that. But also don't undermine Israeli cowardice, okay?
Coming in since this morning. The very latest, I'm looking down at my screen, this is coming from Egypt just about 20 minutes ago. So
I guess if there's a Israeli diaper publicly traded company, that's the stock I would buy if you hear that there will be an active occupation, okay? Israeli diaper stock go up, number go very high.
The foreign ministry statement condemning Israeli moves to occupy Gaza. Do you think Israel can fully get away with this?
I think their status is much more difficult than any time before. We've just heard that Germany suspended its military supplies to Israel. This is a big deal, given that Germany is the second biggest supplier of weapons to Israel. And given the fact that Germany has been so loyal to Israel. So things are changing, of course, and Israel, as the ex-prime minister of Israel have described it, several actually prime ministers described the situation that Israel now is a pariah state worldwide, and this will get worse. But the problem is, when will that translate into deterring Israel from doing what it's doing? Should we have 2 million Palestinians killed before that happened? So the people now who suffered so much in Gaza continue to suffer while the world is watching? No, that is not acceptable. And I think it is the responsibility of the whole world, but also it is the responsibility of Arab and Muslim countries who cannot only satisfy themselves with statements and condemnations. That's not enough. There should be immediate boycott of Israel. All Israeli ambassadors should be kicked out if they are in some of these countries. The normalization with Israel that has happened should be cancelled. That's the only way, that's the only language that Netanyahu will understand. But if they continue to just issue statements, of course he will proceed with these crimes. And mind you, we are talking here about the fact that 10% already of the population of Gaza have been killed or injured. We are talking about elimination of a whole population. We are talking about killing and injuring more than 60,000 little innocent children. If he continues with his plans, you will be talking about maybe 1 million Palestinians killed or injured.
Mustafa Barghouti joining us from Ramallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Glorb 2012 for the Prime subscription. Thank you for supporting the show and moving us closer to our beautiful daily goal. Reminder, if we ever hit a hype train, we initiate civil war, which is always the most fun part of the show and a great palate cleanser from this absolute unyielding motherfucking horror. Now, let us, that was supposed to be a pitch for you to subscribe, of course. Now let us continue with our news coverage of the day. This looked interesting. Pastor Doug hit me up with even some videos of this Christian nationalist pastor that we can check out later, but now let's contextualize him. The Christian nationalist pastor with ties to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. I was always honestly deeply interested in...
More beer money.
Hell yeah, my friend. Thank you, Transcon Driver. 500 biddies. That is beyond kind of you. Thank you. I will definitely buy a couple of beeros from that cash. Thank you, my friend. I was always like, obviously, Pete Hegseth is a degenerate right-wing white supremacist. It is exceptionally simple to see this. But as I like to call myself, as an academic of fascist ideology, I always try to pinpoint what kind of fascist they are, okay? What kind of demon they are. While it is healthy to generalize all the demons of hell as demons, it is very important for you to know if somebody serves Nurgle, or if they serve Slanesh, or if they serve Khorne, or if they serve Tzeentch, and so on. So maybe by looking at this pastor who has influenced Pete Hegseth, we can find out what kind of an unhinged evil human being he is. So let's continue.
Wilson is a self-described Christian nationalist.
They all serve Mammon. Yeah, good joke. I like that.
On a mission to make the United States a Christian nation and the entire world a Christian world. Over the decades, he's built an international...
We was Templars and shit.
...network of more than 100...
Guys, Americans being like, we was Templars and shit.
150 churches. And last month, he opened a new one just 3 blocks from Capitol Hill, with the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, attending the service. Pastor Wilson preaches a strict interpretation of the Bible. He believes women should submit to their husbands and not have the right to vote. In his view, abortion and homosexuality are criminal. He's been on the fringes of the religious right for decades, but now finds more of a mainstream Republican audience. CNN's Pamela Brown reports.
Christ Church senior pastor Doug Wilson makes no apologies for his beliefs on God and country.
I'd like to see the town be a Christian town. I'd like to see the state be a Christian state. I'd like to see the nation be a Christian nation. I'd like to see the world be a Christian world.
And now Wilson's controversial views as a Christian nationalist are gaining sway in the...
Hell yeah, brothers. American Christian ISIS just dropped.
Nation's center of power, with the recent opening of his new church and high-profile parishioners like Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Is planting a church in D.C. part of your mission to try to turn this into a Christian nation?
Yes. So every society is theocratic. The only question is who's theo? In a secular democracy, it would be
America, arguably one of the first places on the Western Hemisphere that said there is not going to be any involvement of church in state business, and this is a hill we will die on. We will take your unwashed masses and we will free them from religious persecution. Now, of course, pivoting to, no, actually, that's super base, that we were super wrong about this, while still pretending to be American patriots. Da-dum-dum-da-dum.
Be demos, the people. In a Christian republic, it'd be Christ.
Well, what would you say to someone watching this to say, look, I'm a Muslim. Who are you to say your world
You'll be like, you're very welcome to convert.
View is better than mine, that your God is better than mine?
Might, baby. That is why it is fascist.
Well, if I went to Saudi Arabia, I would fully expect to live under their God's rules.
But you said earlier that you...
But who the fuck ever... Okay, so you want a Christian Saudi Arabia for the United States of America. Okay. And,
want this to be a Christian world.
Yes.
So you want to supplant...
Because let's remind ourselves, the United States of America is a secular country, okay? It is not built upon religious institutions as its driving ideology.
Their religion with your Christian.
Yes, but Saudi Arabia, I would fully expect to live under their God's rules.
But you said earlier that you want this to be a Christian world.
Yes.
So you want to supplant their religion with your Christian.
Yes, by peaceful means, by sharing the gospel. There's a lot of work yet to do. I believe that we are working our little corner of the vineyard.
Wilson's Little Corner, a picturesque campus.
Motherfucker, we're about to give Mormons assault rifles, okay? The two annoying fucking kids that knock on your door and they ask you whether you want to hear the word of God are now going to be like, hello, Mrs. Smith. You will hear the word of God. Get the fuck down! I'm talking to you about God right now, motherfucker! Do you speak Christian, bitch? Oh, Lord.
On the outskirts of downtown Moscow, Idaho, is growing by the day with thousands of like-minded Christians. Parishioners of his church, known as Kirkers, own and operate several businesses downtown, next to liberal college town stores.
If it's true.
Motherfucker, why are you developing your own fucking sect of Christianity? Motherfucker out here calling himself a true believer, yet he has not been sanctified by the great and holy trinity of the only churches that are acceptable. The great Orthodox, the great Catholics, and of course the great Protestants. Everything else is a disgusting motherfucking sect, etc., etc. That's usually that. Like, if you are a truly principled, like hardcore believing Christian motherfucker, and you do not fall under one of those three categories, you are unironically just participating in a corporate spin-off of the Word of God. I'm not saying that those three are not extremely problematic themselves, but at least they're not made by some rich white dude from the States that was like, yeah, I'm gonna talk in God's name now. I registered my church as an LLC. I will pay no taxes, and I will tell you what to believe. Yeah. New sect of Christianity is an American tradition through and through. Absolutely. Don't they have more religious denominations than S&P 500 corporations, dude?
If it's true.
Why did he yell boo? Because it's
because of me.
Because of you.
Yeah. Well, you there you go.
That's a regular day for you. Why did he yell boo? Because it's
because of me.
Because of you.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's a regular day for you.
That's not unusual.
A big focus of his Christian movement is on a patriarchal society where men are dominant and women are expected to submit to their husbands.
Women are the kind of people that people come out of.
Okay, so this is the main reason they're doing hardcore patriarchy as their main talking point is because that is what unironically currently sells in young reactionary American circles. Okay, that's like women hatred, women should submit, etc., works unironically the best right now when it comes to taking them in when they're young. And any relatively smart reactionary movement, be it a clero-fascist one like this or any other type, will make we will give you what's the word, like state issued wives as a big part of their platform. Okay.
So you just think they're meant to have babies? That's it. They're just a vessel.
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and mother, who is the chief executive of the home, is entrusted with 3 or 4 or 5 eternal souls.
I'm here as a working journalist, and I'm a mom of 3.
Good for you.
Is that an issue for you?
No, it's not automatically an issue.
Josh and Amy.
I love how they answer this shit. It's not automatically an issue, but in the long term, we're gonna have to bring you back to the good old womb business, woman.
Friends, along with their 4 kids, moved here from Washington State.
Do you see Amy as your equal?
Yes and no.
My fiance's father is part of one of these churches. It took years to get her out of that thought. It was just dudes who couldn't get pussy forcing women to stick around. Absolute classic.
Since that we're both saved by grace, we're absolutely on equal footing. But we have very different purposes, God-given.
But do you see yourself as the head of the household, as the man?
He is the head of our household.
Yes.
Yes, and I do submit to him.
So like moving. here
I was just
was
gonna say that.
ultimately your decision.
Yes.
That's a great
great example.
Wilson says in his
That's a great example. I have forced my wife to come to this sect place. That is my job. Women, listen to your husbands when they want to bring you across the country to continue whatever LARP they are really, really into.
vision of a Christian society.
Keep your kink to yourself.
Women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastors Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote, but I would cast the vote having discussed it with my household.
But what if there's your wife doesn't want to vote for the same person as you?
Right. Well, then that's a great opportunity for a good discussion.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
And Wilson, a veteran himself, is unapologetic about his view that women shouldn't be in certain leadership or combat roles.
Looking at the leadership page for Christ Church, it's all men. Do you accept women in leadership roles in the church and government?
In the church, no.
Why?
Because the Bible says not to.
Well, that's not what happens in the Bible. Women do lead all the time.
Progressive faith leader Reverend Jennifer Butler is concerned about Wilson's growing influence.
He is rapidly.
I don't know, there's only one person that God the Father ever actually interacted with, actually influenced her biology, okay? Holy Mary, Mother of God. Oh, Lord.
Gaining
have mercy on me. These fucking heretics over here, dude.
Power. He has hundreds of churches established around the country. They actually literally want to take over towns and cities, and they have access to this administration.
Wilson is part of a broader Christian nationalist movement making inroads with the Trump administration, with a newly created faith office led by evangelical pastor Paula White Cain, and people seen right outside the White House entrance praying and speaking in tongues.
Yeah, Trump, the famously monogamous man. The famously monogamous... principled family, dude. Mary didn't have a Y chromosome, so Jesus must be a trans man. What would you call your mega church? What would I call my mega church? A hype train.
We are standing on the soil of the White House, and we are declaring your word.
How precious.
And now there's a monthly prayer service at the Pentagon, initiated by Hegseth, Wilson's highest level connection to the administration.
It's not organizationally tied to us, but it's the kind of thing we love to see.
For his part, Hegseth has publicly praised Wilson.
Now we're standing on the shoulders of a generation later, the Doug Wilsons and the others.
And as Wilson grows closer to the mainstream, the critics are also getting louder, accusing him and other Christian nationalists of wanting to create the dystopian world from The Handmaid's Tale, something he insists has never been his goal for society.
I'm not a white nationalist. I'm not a fascist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a misogynist.
How far out?
And I am a helicopter. I am actually Watermelon Man.
Do you see a Christian nation, like a full-on Christian theocracy?
250 years.
250 years.
Yeah, honestly, that's yes.
What you see. But you do think it will happen?
Yes, I do. We're not going to usher in anything ourselves. We're really genuinely pioneers.
John, we reached out to the Defense Department to better understand the relationship.
We're just going to advocate for it, hoping that somebody picks up a weapon and makes it a reality, but we're not going to do it ourselves. Okay, so this is a very classic example of clerofascism utilizing religious ideology and the othering of a particular category, in this case, the category of women and the promise of returning to a past that was never greater than this one, but that we will pitch to you as greater than this one as a means to utilize your current alienation and tell you that your current alienation does not come from either social issues or class issues, but instead because we're no longer attributing our lives to the Lord and to the nuclear family, which also in and itself is not a Christian product or a product of religion or whatever, but ironically a product of capitalism at its stage back then when women to an extent were not allowed into the workforce and therefore had to rely on a money-making American husband, which created, the whole nuclear family ideal, even though it was not ideal for anyone, including the man, including the woman, and including the children. So yeah, very, 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 very classic right-wing pitch on we will give you a puss, and she will listen to you because women be crazy right now because women be having like opinions and shit. Okay, you know why I'm saying shit a lot? Because I just finished watching The Wire, and in The Wire, there's this character that says shit in the best fucking way possible. Okay.
Shit, boy. Think I'm gonna be the scapegoat for the whole damn machine? Shit.
Clarence is gonna...
Shit, as far as the federal money's concerned, he's everything. The faucet, the goose.
Oh, goose.
The one that lays them golden eggs. Major crimes. Shit. They gonna come talk to me about money laundering in West Baltimore? Shit. Looking forward to working with you.
Shouldn't you be dead to me?
Shit. I took it easy on you, son.
For every single subscription that comes in from now until the next 5 minutes, for every single one of them, I will say, shit. Thank you for the subscription.
Sky. Shit, partner. Shit. And it's your people up in my shit. Not no feds, not no safe people from Annapolis. It's motherfuckers from my own city. For all that profile, shit, partner, you should be paying me a fee. Maurice Doby? For governor of my state? Shit.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. Come on, make me say it. I want to say it. Make me say it right now. Make me fucking say it right now. God fucking damn it. Okay, let me see what Pandas hit me up here.
Wonderful,
with
a new
this
child
fucking
soldier.
Dude.
Subscriber.
Oh shit, 999. Thank you very much. Shit. Oh shit, on a soundboard. I need it. Right now I'm traveling, so I don't have my soundboard with me, but that's a great idea. Why are some riots okay? Why women need emotional self-control? Why the generations hate each other? The alphabet soup Nazis. What the fuck? Okay. Why women need emotional self-control. Let's see this. Men, famously not emotional creatures, okay? Girls in chat, like you know men, right? Men, we're never emotional, okay? When we beat you, it's because you deserve it. Because you're emotional, okay? When we punch the drywall, shit, it's because the drywall talked back. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, this is going to be some bull. Okay, I'm not even going to say it. You don't deserve it. No fucking gift subs. I don't fucking say it. Sadly, yes, I know men. I apologize. I apologize to all women because they have to interact with men, unironically.
Putting big switches on yourself all on the outside like just any stranger.
Okay, so this is the guy. He runs Canon Press. Or no, Canon Press. This is a masterclass. Veteran shares the gospel with Joe Rogan. God, why is everyone doing YouTube? Why does everyone have to do YouTube? Like everyone... Shit. Okay, I can't help it. I'm spoiling you fucks. I give a premise, and then I don't even follow my premise. Okay, let's see this dude. Okay, let's peek into him a little bit. Let's do our research. We're doing our research.
Can be in charge of whether I'm...
What's up,
Freda? Shit. Shit. Everybody say hi to Freda and give Freda a follow because Freda is now streaming, okay? And if you're more into gaming than just political commentary, Freda is the perfect person to follow and watch because he fucking good at it, okay? Also, fucking, Freda. Everybody knows Freda. So, and everybody say hi to Freda and follow Freda, okay? Okay. What's up, Freda? I hope you're doing good. Shit.
Today, you're just allowing yourself to be controlled.
Wait, shut that.
It's like you're putting big switches on yourself all on the outside, like just any stranger can be in charge of whether I'm productive today. You're just allowing yourself to be controlled.
Shit, what?
So we're here to talk about your webinar, Rachel, which I understand is entitled "Get a Grip." What's who are you?
Yes.
Who are you?
Why the fuck is this femoid here talking to us? Do I look like her husband? Are you her husband? What's going on here? Okay. We learned earlier that a woman gets to participate in the management of her household, but the man is the executive, and the man gets to represent the household to the community. We are the community, Reverend. We are watching your show. Why are you bringing a female here, okay? Doesn't she follow through on her own ideology? Motherfucker, why are you not making donuts or whatever these fucking white people eat? Out here talking and shit. Writing webinars? Webinars? Ain't no webinar. Fucking. Does this webinar look like a child that you are supposed to be raising and birthing?
Who are you talking to?
Christian women. It's just about the topic of emotional self.
How about you don't talk to my wife? My wife gets to talk to me. And that's it.
Control. That's something that
already hypocritical.
A lot of the times when I'm talking about mothering or something else that's in the background or assumed, and it causes a lot of questions.
Okay, so emotional self-control. These are strange words.
Yes.
What meanest thou?
Well, I think that this is just an area that a lot of Christian women have not seen any examples of this, so they actually don't know that you can not give in to your emotions, or if
you're supposed to,
right? Or sometimes there's active Christian counsel that you are supposed to get into your emotions all the time and dump them on people. And
this discussion reminded me of one of my favorite presentations of a Bible story. What is this? Woody versus God's comeback, Jacob. What? The hell?
Did you know about that shit, by the way? While we're on this. Did you know about that monster?
What's that?
Did you know that Jacob and Esau, who were brothers, Esau was the tough firstborn. He had the firstborn blessing, but his mother and Jacob conspired that they would get the blessing for Jacob because they didn't want Esau to get it.
That's right.
He went out to hunt one day. And he came back and he was super tired. And then Jacob started making this pot of lentil soup. And he made it smell super delicious. Yeah. And he's like, oh, dude, I'm super thirsty and hungry, bro. You got to feed me some soup. And he's like, I don't know. What do you got for me? And he's like, dude, just give me some soup, man. And he's like, well, you got that first son blessing? And he's like, yeah,
Give it away. No.
He's like, yeah, you can have it. You can have my fucking blessing. I just want some soup.
Just make yourself some fucking food, Jacob.
And he fucking traded up his blessing for some soup.
That's like Bart trading away his fucking soul for like what? No, it was like water sponges.
It was a bunch of bullshit. And then Isaac, who was like super blind and old and whatever, was like, okay, well, I want to also give you your whatever your prayer or your special thing. Jacob's mom goes, yo, your brother's about to get his super sick blessing.
His miracle go.
His miracle blessing, where like he touches you and he fucking puts the magic in you, right? He's about to get that tomorrow, so you need to go send him away to be like, yo, go chill, go do your thing or whatever. And while he's out, you need to dress up as Esau
They'll have
and go in and get that
There's no
blessing.
makeup. They can't
Isaac's
put-
old
And they're
and
like,
shit.
how the
They
fuck's
can't
that
put
gonna
a-
happen?
They can't put a Groucho Marx mask
So
on. and
because Esau is the big, like, hairy hunter strong guy,
Yeah.
then he's like, okay, get some fucking lamb fur and put it on your body. And he walks in, and then Isaac's like, yo,
What about his voice?
yo, Esau, is that? Yeah. So he heard him. He's like,
Yeah.
is that you, my son? And he's like, yeah, it's me. He's like, that don't sound like you. Come over here. And he's like,
Let me rub your fur.
and then he touches him, and he feels the fur, and then he touches him, and he feels the beard, and he goes, I don't know. But I guess it's you, though. Here's that blessing. And he fucking gets it. And, and Jacob's like, yeah.
What a hustle.
He fucking stole it twice.
Ill-begotten blessing.
And then Esau was like,
Fucking grinding God's blessings, dude.
I'm going to kill you. And he's like, yeah, I know. That's true.
That's fair.
true.
I don't.
And he fucking pieced the fuck out. And his mom was like, all right, I'm going to hide you in the trunk. And we're driving
Of her
out.
car.
Wait, what?
Because she was just like, I can't stop your brother from trying to kill you because you know what? You deserve that shit.
But you
I
believe
can
you helped.
Me. You helped, though, bitch.
But you help. But I can just say, like, go wait till the heat dies down, and he doesn't want to kill you anymore, and then it's gonna be great. It'll be fine. And fuck, it's same guy that, like, you know, he, like, as we know later on, hustled with an angel that he wouldn't let go
Why is
because
he
was
so
like,
obsessed with blessing?
because he fucking needs it, bro.
It's the currency of the time, brother.
He needs so many blessings.
When he smells a blessing, he's going to get it. And if he's dreaming and a ladder is there and an angel's like going up top, he's like, I know you got that blessing though.
Jacob, you have so many blessings. Can everyone else just have a blessing, maybe?
No one can have a blessing.
No, you have all the.
I'm gonna be the billionaire of blessings.
Jacob.
And if you're wondering how it turns out, Jacob eventually becomes like super successful and prosperous and rich, as does Esau. And then he kind of goes,
blessings.
and later on he's just like, hey, bro, like, why don't we remember how like I fucking stole all your shit? I'm sorry about that. How about we make up and stuff? And Esau's like, go fuck yourself. But I'm not gonna keep trying to kill you. How about that?
Well,
all right.
It's basically crypto.
Well, that ends well.
Not really. I still hate your guts, and you're still full of shit. Fuck you. But I'm not trying to take your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was truly a story. Holy shit. Holy is the word for it. Oh, Lord.
Whatever. So I would say it's both lack of experience of what I think is a basic Christian discipline, as well as a lot of experience of what the world is promoting, which is a totally other way to handle your emotions.
And they call that being authentic or being the real you or not being phony or
Right. Or standing up for yourself or whatever.
Okay, so before we go into the idea of learning self-control, emotional self-control, can we be...
Wait, women standing up for themselves is a toxic way of doing emotional regulation. Well, holy mother of gaslight.
Begin by agreeing, you would agree that there is such a thing as someone harming themselves by stuffing it.
Totally.
Right, so it's not really self-control so much as it is repression or
Right.
they're not dealing with it.
And you could see it in any other area. I think we would understand that. Like you could say learning the habits of eating healthy or is different than saying I love anorexia. Like where you're saying here's how you ought to behave. It's very different than a eating disorder. You know, like you can talk about how to deal with this.
So just as there's a difference between
Okay,
someone who's
let's,
sexually frigid or...
We're already starting. We're inventing strawmen, and now we're going to have rigorous debate versus the non-existing person in the room, okay?
repressed and
Yes.
someone who's self-controlled.
Right.
There's an analogy there.
Totally.
Actually, with all the appetites. Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so in our era, we have given way, and the Christian world has given way to the world's statement that you've got to let it all hang out, and that's what honesty is.
Right.
Why does that make people so unhappy?
You mean following that counsel?
That counsel.
Because it's a horrible God to serve. Like your own emotions are incredibly fickle. So you could have, like, just think of an example of a mom with her children. She could have one day where she's very angry with her kids and frustrated, and then the next day be feeling full of love for them, and like your own emotional responses are all over the place. And if you think that you're just supposed to follow those and that they're meaningful in some way, it's like there is no solid place to stand ever. You have no objective truth.
And the kids are walking on eggshells.
It's a horrible place to be a kid.
Where every day, which mom do we have today?
Right. And also, I think it's hugely, I think the Christian church is very vulnerable because, well, as the Bible says, women are...
Some women are bad parents because they lose their shit on their kids all the time. And our solution to that is religious principle. But then if you're only being good because of religious principle, you're not really being good. You're just following a doctrine. You have not internalized the doctrine. You're just following it blindly.
Gullible. But if you go all the way back to Eve, and you look at the dialogue with Eve and Satan, he is playing on her emotions. I mean, like, he's playing on the questions of, like, making yourself feel like God's leaving you out of something, right? Like, he gets handles on her behavior through how she feels about the doubts that he raises or whatever. He makes her doubt things. He makes her feel insecure. He makes her feel like she's being left out or God is.
Yeah, but the allegory there is that Satan is playing on human insecurities. I love how they're repitching this as a gendered question, right? Because Satan is trying to use man-made, human-made ego as a thing that only can be ascribed to women. What are we doing here?
Ripping them off somehow. And that, I just think women still do that. Like, the more you're given over to your emotions, the easier you actually are to control, the easier it is for other people
to manipulate you.
Yes, and like it's like you're putting big switches on yourself all on the outside. Like, just any stranger can be in charge of whether I'm productive today or not, or anyone on the internet can decide that I'm not going to do my duties today. Like, you're just allowing yourself to be controlled.
Okay, so
the answer to that is to be controlled by your husband. What?
If you take your emotional life and make that the baseline, or make your emotional life the foundation of your life.
Yes.
And then build your life, your marriage, your family, your mothering, all of that on top of it. When your emotions go up and down, your whole life goes up and down.
Yeah.
Everything goes up and down.
Well, everything in your life is always vulnerable. Then you have nothing that's actually safely tied off outside.
Okay, but give me an example of how I limit emotional outbursts. How do I limit emotional outbursts? Maybe, I don't know, create a society in which I will be pretty materially well off so that I don't have to think about 700 other things besides my kids and my partner. Maybe there you go. That's like one solution, for parents, not just women, of course, to, lose their shit on their kids all the time. Or maybe create a social care net for all children of a particular community where you help each other out, raise them, stuff like that, systemic stuff. But no, I think it's just going to be like hyper focus on the myth that women are hyper emotional while men are these stoic trees that tie them down. So hyper focus on this ideologized version of a mother and a woman, and then address that straw man that you've devised in your head as a means to make yourself more stable. Like basically gaslight yourself into thinking that the reasons you're angry all the time are not societal, are not your material conditions, are not the relationship you find yourself in. No, you're unstable because you're a woman. That's the pitch, right? Like a woman needs to proactively manage her emotional state because she is a woman, because she's putting these, as she says, on and off switches all over herself that allow other people to manipulate her. So we're just inventing shit.
Side of how I feel today.
Right. And if the foundation is something other than that, like the covenant or what God says about you.
The objective hard truths of Scripture.
Yeah, the cold gray concrete of revealed truth is down here, and your emotions are built on top of that. Your emotions go up and down. This stays firm, and after a while, your emotions get tired and say, "This isn't working."
I think that one of the things that is misunderstood often, like we were talking about, that it's not.
So yeah, basically, Herder. Herder, you need ideological belief if you don't want to be an unhinged woman. Women are unhinged because we say so. And we have a pitch on what ideological belief you should underpin that on. Crazy. Mr. Hugo, I come to you with hope, brother. Do you know Turb? He is doing a 7-day stream for charity called 7th Gen Rising. His guests on like Noah Samson yesterday, and he said he would love to have you on and the other The Program Boys on. Sure, hit me up. Hit me up. Tell Turb to hit me up anywhere on Twitter or on Discord or wherever. I'm open, very open.
Anorexia. To say this is a healthy way to eat is not anorexia. And that's a good illustration because I think the world is promoting bulimia in a big way, right? Like binge and purge all the time. That's what we ought to do. And whenever you say, no, let's enjoy God's food the way we ought to, people assume you're saying, let's starve ourselves to death. But the reality is that...
Okay, yeah, there's nothing fun to extract from these conversations. Straw man that we're fist fighting with air. We're fist fighting with
aesthetic.
Air. But it is a fantastic pivot into this video that too many people at this point have recommended to moi, to my booty, to my ass, to me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. And it's called The New Aesthetics of Fascism. So... we're known here for knowing how to deep dive into fascist ideology. Let's see what parts of this video we agree with, disagree with, and what we can learn from it, and what topics that it discusses we can use as a jumping off point for our conversations. But yeah, previous guy, just using religion and patriarchal norms as a jumping off point to radicalize dudes that might be lacking in that particular field, aka the field of getting some. Very, very classic approach. So yeah, let's move on to this. No problem. NP was forced to study that book front and back. Helps. Oh, okay, you're talking about something else. Who have heard her to the point where she is? Yeah. Butt chugging YouTube videos. Did you just say he's coming for my ass? Always.
Never again.
Apparently it's very artsy, so let's go for it.
That's what we Germans always tell ourselves.
Oh my god, a German video.
This should never happen again. And it surely won't, right? I mean, we now know how fascism looks like. World War II changed the game. That's why it's time for a redesign. A friendlier and more quiet form of fascism that slowly creeps its way into society. Remember, fascism does not equal fascism, but the aestheticization of politics remains. In a way that doesn't come with aggressive militarism, but in a disguise of technocratic bureaucracy, corporate control, and manufactured media staging. Welcome to the age of friendly fascism. Modern fascist aesthetic is therefore incredibly hard to spot, as there's no historical blueprint I can point at. While in the past fascist ideologies were more clearly unified and bundled and presented one ideology, today there are countless splitter movements that may differ in various aspects but still have clear fascist characteristics in their ideology and therefore optics. The debate about whether this or that can ultimately be attributed to fascism is, in my opinion at least, not really relevant, as the debate about a definition only distracts from what is currently happening. I will now show you specific visual aspects, especially in Western contexts, which I believe show ideological connections to traditional fascism. The best thing I can do here is to let the aesthetics speak for themselves. The neo-futurist art movement has no connection to fascism as it did back then. No glorification of violence, war, and macho culture. What overlaps though, however, is the idea of a utopia, driven by technological progress, aesthetically represented in minimalism, dynamic curves, coldness, and futuristic sci-fi looks, speed, and momentum. So it's no wonder that many Silicon Valley companies in particular are adopting this aesthetic. I do see a philosophical connection between the early 1900s futurists and today's tech bros. The desire for a future in which technology will save the world.
And it's time to rebuild America.
A future in which the established market systems and capitalism de facto continue to exist, and yet all the issues caused by it are somehow alleviated. If only we unite under a national banner, if only we unite under a racial banner, if only we unite under a misogynist banner, or if only we unite under the banner of a tech utopia. Very good pitch. It's very true. It's very true. It is the constant rebranding of issues caused by capitalism as issues that can be solved through this or that social reconstruction. Fuck, this video might be good. This person, all the green flags, seems to know what they're talking about, because usually people miss that crux.
There is a cult surrounding tech bros.
Please, mods, put this as pinned, and also anybody who wants to become a mod, we are hiring right now. Please apply, apply, and apply if you want to be a people's police officer.
It's like Musk and Zuckerberg. Beyond just their wealth, the whole techno-optimist mindset helped foster a culture where these absolute losers could be idolized. Libertarians like Musk, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Thiel also clearly reflect the macho culture, as was the case in classic futurism.
I think having a culture that celebrates the aggression a bit more has its own merits that are really positive. It's one thing to say we want to be kind of welcoming and make a good environment for everyone, and I think it's another to basically say that masculinity is bad.
If you take a closer look at the glorification of war, the glorification is striking when you look at companies like Peter Thiel's Palantir. The ties between Silicon Valley and the military-industrial complex run very deep. A tech utopia, led by strong men. The glorification of power, progress, masculinity, and military dominance now comes in a context of slick minimalist corporate advertising or image campaigns rather than the avant-garde art movement of futurism. Imagine a tech-driven future in which corporations rule the world, climate change destroyed entire cities, fixed social hierarchies exist, and Ryan Gosling slowly bleeding to death. I think we can all
Also the pitch that being edgy is depoliticizing yourself when it comes to traditional analyses of what is wrong with the world, such as, for example, the socialist or anarchist pitch, because that's fucking cringy, not edgy, and dedicating yourself arguably to the most vanilla fucking centrist analysis of how to improve society somewhat, quote unquote, which usually the answer is tech or by being a moody, edgy fucking nihilist, bro. Yeah. If only I'm gonna TikTok edit my way into a fucking utopia, bro. Oh, I don't want to stay in here. Literally, give me 1 minute. Let me just really quickly go grab a piss, okay? Really quickly. I'll rewind it by 1 minute, and I'll be right back.
The glorification of power, progress, masculinity, and military dominance now comes in a context of slick minimalist corporate advertising or image campaigns rather than the avant-garde art movement of futurism. Imagine a tech-driven future in which corporations rule the world, climate change destroyed entire cities, fixed social hierarchies exist, and Ryan Gosling slowly bleeding to death. I think we can all agree cyberpunk might look cool, but is a future nobody really wants. So, how do I sell a future that will most likely happen, but with a less dystopian look? You've seen The Line, right? That's solarpunk. Solarpunk is meant to be the optimistic counterpart to cyberpunk, a utopian aesthetic where nature and technology coexist in harmony. It combines tradition, conservatism, and polished tech futurism at the same time. Solarpunk does indeed represent a certain counter-movement to neo-fascist concepts, but there are dangerous tendencies into which the aesthetic could drift off. In the context of the so-called eco-fascism, authoritarian forces can be misused to emphasize blood and soil nationalism, population control, and racialized conservation. The danger is that the aesthetic of harmony with nature can be repurposed for exclusionary or nationalistic goals.
The aesthetic of absolutely everything can be repurposed for fascist goals. Okay? Every single identity known to man can be repurposed for fascist goals. Everything. You like K-pop? K-pop can be repurposed. You prefer mayo on your fries versus ketchup? You can make a whole fucking us versus them ideology out of it. Everything. Every single thing.
An aesthetic that is used by nations such as Saudi Arabia or Israel. A polished visual world that is intended to whitewash the blood of regimes. An attempt to erase bad PR after entire populations have been erased. Solarpunk is an excellent Trojan horse to maintain the illusion of a tech utopia and to sell the people a beautiful image that's worth aspiring to and fighting for. This aesthetic takes on fascist traits when the utopian imagery basically only depicts white people, relies on Eurocentric aesthetics, or presents colonialist imagery. That utopia becomes worth expanding for. Basically Helldivers.
And spread managed democracy throughout the galaxy. Become a hero. Become a legend. Become a Helldiver.
The fact that tech plays an almost religious role in Silicon Valley is not groundbreaking, especially when tech and consumer fetishism come together. Luckily, the tech bro cult isn't political at all. That's what they're saying, at least. The MAGA movement clearly has...
The final solution will save us all. AI will save us all. The difference between the two is logistics.
Aesthetic similarities to cult-like structures. A selected messianic leader who will return America to its former glory and bring the elites to justice.
With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have
I'm your daddy.
Been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
Of course, it's not just MAGA. Look at the AfD's Björn Höcke, for example. The aestheticization is just nowhere near as uniform and intimidating as it was in the 1920s. Mobilizing that way simply wouldn't work nowadays anymore. Numerous neo-fascist movements either collapsed or never gained momentum because of that. But the mystical nonsense is still there. Similar to 1930s Nazi rhetoric of the Jewish Whale conspiracy, modern fascism is dependent on conspiracy theories and vice versa. They are mutually reinforcing systems. Conspiracism supplies the emotional fuel, while fascist movements channel that fuel into political action. The rise of digital ecosystems has accelerated this feedback loop, making conspiracy-driven neo-fascism a growing global threat to democratic stability. In the US, far-right movements strongly overlap with Christian fundamentalism, or in India, Hindu fundamentalism, in Afghanistan, Islamic fundamentalism, and in Israel, Jewish fundamentalism. Unlike in the 1920s, religion isn't just opportunistic, it's central, a nation and leader chosen by God, with the Bible as the highest law. Therefore, patriotism is your...
Why is this the case? Why is this the case? The answer is very simple. Because a lot of people still find religion to be a big underpinning of who they are. When you're trying to give an alternative pitch to a Marxist one on why everyone is alienated, you still have to utilize a very important part of your people's identity. You can go two ways. A very difficult path, which is, for example, what the Nazis did, was recontextualize what race meant for the German, introduce concepts of racial superiority of the Nordic category of Germans as tied to ancient Aryans and so on, as a means to make them feel like they have something to lose and something to win as representatives of said identity, right? Or you can go the cheaper and relatively easier route, which is utilizing an identity that already exists, preying on the idea that it is somehow threatened, but more importantly, preying on a promise that they would all like to see come to fruition, where their identity stays atop all others, right? You are at the same time threatened as a Christian, you are at the same time threatened as a white German, but you are also about to enter the next utopian era as long as you are allowed to create a country pure and only made of those like you. Those are the two paths. And obviously the modern, especially American fascists, are a little bit lazier, so they just prey on identities that currently exist, which is, religious identity of many Americans, and not only in America, everywhere around the world. Sounds like Ben got Hans Zimmer to make the music for this video, for his video. Unpopular take: you can know everything about a person by how wonderful or creepy their religion makes them. Perhaps it only reveals good or bad character. Interpretation. Yeah, interpretation says a lot. Interpretation says a lot about about bias, and your biases say a lot about who you are, and who you are says a lot about the experiences that you've had throughout your life. Pretty much. That's odd since Nords. Yeah, Nordic race does not mean Nords. Watch my video on Nazi race science. It's a completely different thing.
Your duty to show your gratitude towards your God. Diffusion of fundamentalist religion.
Again, you either create a new category of identity, which is very difficult nowadays, or you utilize a category of identity that already exists. White, black, Christian, Muslim, whatever, and then you play off of it with two main points. Unless you follow me, your way of life will be destroyed. Point number one. And point number two, if you follow me, actually life is going to be fucking sick as fuck, and you're going to be the G.
With authoritarian nationalism.
Pastors socially distancing, mitigating, and walking with BLM, by the way, which is funded by Soros and founded by a lesbian Marxist who prays to Satan.
The esoteric occult mysticism of the Nazis is replaced with Christian aesthetics. It's also, of course, not an exclusive US-based phenomena. When looking at other nations, religious fundamentalism is often used to justify the power hierarchy. and linking one's own nationality with supposedly sacred values produces a threatened image of identity that must be regained. It not only produces a longing for the past, but also a fear of losing this collective identity, culture, and supposed
and a promise of a glorious future. If you want to see a glorious future, but not one led by disgusting racists, bigots, and fascists, and more importantly, yes, I said more importantly, a future without advertising, do consider supporting the show, allowing us to continue running as independently as we already are by helping us reach today's sub goal and subscribing for $6 a month or for free through Prime, or by oiling me up and turning fellow proletarian chatters into true proud child soldiers by gifting subscriptions. Take out your debit card, show how much you believe in the church of anti-fascism and the education we do here, and support the show. Thank you for even considering it. Thank you, my beautiful police officer, Toasty Android, for starting off with 5 gifties. Thank you very, very much, making that little subscription counter not looking as pathetic as it is. Crazy Shifty Pizza in no shifty way with those beautiful 10 gift subs. Thank you very much for your 75th gift sub. One of the OGs here and one of the best pizzas in chat. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. And ironically, without guys like you, none of this would be possible. So let us continue and keep the subs coming in. I'm not gonna say no to them. Fuck advertising.
Post values. Drifting off into Fantasyland serves one clear purpose: to manufacture the illusion of a deep ancient foundation for their ideology. Nostalgia for the past is still a major theme. Instead of addressing concrete changes in living conditions, people are promised a return to some traditional good old days like the 1950s or Reagan's 1980s in the US, Russia with the Soviet Union, or Germany with trying to bring back traditions in order to revive a lost culture, a lost nation. How this is exactly supposed to improve the lives of the people? Don't ask, bro. It just feels right, bro. And it's not just the culture that's lost, it's masculinity too. And weirdly, it's exactly the same narrative as in the 1920s. And for all its rebranding, far-right is...
So Julian Howe, no, that he's addressing like the way the Russian Federation currently uses Soviet nostalgia as a way to motivate troops and the population to commit to war and so on. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and here, you know, masculinity is just a thing that is being used right now, right? It's using right now. It doesn't have to be masculine. Okay, the pitch can be pretty much anything. You can have, I don't know, a homosexual fascist Reich that somehow, I don't know, who gets all queer people from all around the world into one state, and they say, oh, we deserve our own state, and then they start killing the locals and shit. Like it's any identity can be co-opted. Absolutely every identity can be co-opted.
Aesthetics constantly recycle the same old Greek, Roman, Nordic masculinity tropes, propagating the same message Mishima would be proud of. Having a strong body is moral, and men with weaker bodies are immoral. Okay, we are now slowly getting into online culture war. This is the Goofy Zone. Everything I'm showing you now is very stupid, cringe, and laughable. You could basically repeat everything I said in my previous video about fascist masculinity, hypermasculinity, aggression, dominance, strength, back to tradition, militarization of the male body. What can be mentioned, however, is the hustle culture. While in the past gym bro aesthetics were already big in the 1920s, linking physical pride and strength with money or cars is a more recent twist. A serious consumption of hustle content could potentially lead to even more content tailored towards young men. Fitness, routines, self-help content than to apolitical podcast bros. Dating and...
I mean, the overconsumption angle is herder. Everybody's complaining about how it's really difficult in capitalism, but you shouldn't be a pussy ass, and you should grind really hard, and you can be the one that ends up on top. TLDR, the boot is right now on your neck, but you can one day wear the boot, and it's going to be base as fuck. This is, for the most basic of masses that believe that if they own the next expensive thing, or if they have more zeros on their income statement, they will somehow lift themselves from sadness and alienation, right? And the body shit is just a different coin of the same thing. You shouldn't be complaining about not being hot, not getting chicks, or being prone to getting beat up. This is not society's fault. This is 100% your fault. And if you satisfy this thing, get the next ideal body, get the next ideal pinnacle of physical strength, you will be able to establish yourself higher in the hierarchy, and therefore be better. Hierarchy is at the crux. That is the underpinning point. That is the foundation of most fascist rhetoric, because it just simply tells you that hierarchy is natural and normal, and the only thing that you get to do and that you should do is try to reach higher echelons of said hierarchy. And you see, some of these guys are like, the swoller you are, the higher you are on that hierarchy, and the happier you're going to be. Or the bigger your bank account, the higher on the capitalist hierarchy you're going to be, and the more happy you're going to feel about yourself. Just different pitches on minimizing your own alienation by giving you some sort of weird-ass goal. I think I disagree on the body part. A healthy mind does most often inhabit a healthy body. Fascism thinks that being a good person means you have a strong body, not that a strong body is a result of work. Just look at how they portray Trump, one of the most unhealthy people on the planet. Yeah, I agree completely, but I don't think that's the point. That's the point being made. The point being made is putting you in a hierarchy versus other people based on how much you work out. So working out is obviously very fucking good, but saying that people who work out are superior to other people is a very different thing. That is the pitch being given here. The other one works the same way. Not being impoverished and not struggling about where to get your next meal is not a bad thing, but completely dedicating your life to grinding out that new car is a manipulative tactic to make you think that happiness is behind the next corner of nicer car or bigger apartment or fancier and flashier clothes. They take concepts that are very realistic and very normal and very relatively, fucking okay and chill, and they turn them into ways through which we can compare ourselves to whatever we are othering, and more importantly, as a way for us to achieve happiness through domination of the other, through being higher on the hierarchy than the other. I hope I'm making myself clear here, right? It is turning everything into a competition. You are not happy because you have a very good body. You are not happy. You are not happy because you have, you're wealthy. No, you are happy because you have a better body than everyone in your community. You are happy because you have more money than everyone in your community. You see the difference? The difference is very, very important. The difference is very, very important. It completely changes the context. You will be happy if you dominate.
Advisors, and lastly, why the man crisis really exists. A deep dive into this pipeline can be seen here. In line with today's irony-poisoned social media zeitgeist, the manosphere aesthetic doesn't even live up to its own ideals. Neither did many men in the 1920s and 30s, of course. But hypocrisy has reached new heights these days.
We literally ended up in this position because everyone's a fucking That's how we ended up here.
I made a whole video about this as well, if you're interested.
Oh my lord. Oh, cute couple.
It's now more prevalent than ever that behind all theatrics and flexing hides deep insecurity that has to be overplayed. I mean, if you have to use filters and music to reinforce your toughness, don't be surprised when people think you're still stuck in puberty. Looking at the optics of online bro culture alone can actually be very cute, seeing these softies staging themselves as some stoic philosophical hero online. And I'm a softie too. But I'm not pretending like I'm not.
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not. Okay. I saw somebody say that, and I think that's interesting. I think you're annoying, but I'm not triggered.
And like every overdramatic theater kid, you just can't help yourself telling everyone how hard your life is, how much you struggle your whole life, when in reality, you might have no idea what real struggle is. So you have to pretend like you do. I have no idea myself. I don't know what it's like. I'm privileged. What differentiates this from this is that one of them is more honest and mature than the other. As usual nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, sure, okay, point, but that's not the pitch. The pitch is it doesn't matter on. The hierarchy of suffering sure matters, but not in this context. Here it's whatever type of suffering you have, whatever level of suffering, if we really have to level it, I find that to be weird, but whatever, if we really have to level it, whatever level of suffering you're on, you will be able to get out under, off through the pursuit of, in this case, for example, hypermasculinity, hyperconsumption, etc., etc. Right? I think you get my fucking point. Like it's the pitch here is whatever type of suffering you have, you will save it. You will save yourself from it by embracing the hyper hierarchical view of the world where you want to be on top of the hierarchy. You will get down from under your suffering by being higher on the hierarchy. That's it. Great suffering or minuscule imagination of suffering coming from people with privilege or whatever does it, the pitch works on both.
Everything is just shit and giggles until you realize what real-world consequences this has.
Obesity comes from you Jews affecting our media.
They have taught us World War II history like we're children, and they freaked out when I shared a BBC documentary, no less, because they had tried to like wipe this from the universe about how Germans were ethnically cleansed. Stalin's. There's a book written by a guy, last name Kaufman, I'm blanking on the first name, where he said it's Germany must perish.
As absurd as the appearance might seem, there are unfortunately many who might laugh at it at first, but then start taking parts of it seriously. What started out as an ironic joke slowly turns into, well, there might be something to it.
Yeah, and it's never victimless. It's absolutely never victimless. It's 100% of the time not victimless. Because if there's going to be a group on top of the hierarchy, they need to be standing on a lot of fucking corpses, right? So the pitch, you will feel happier if you dominate others through this or that means, directly implies that somebody has to be dominated. That's the crux of the idiocy, the failability, and immorality of fascist rhetoric, and of believing in hierarchy amongst humans as the pinnacle of existence.
The absurdity and especially the irony works great as a shield against criticism. Because, hey, none of this was really serious, right? Boys inside the manosphere love to identify themselves with characters from...
Hey, you go microphone. Yeah, because it's a bit further for me. This setup is not my usual one. Usually I would bring it to me, but I can't hear. And everything fucking shakes, as you can see.
Pop culture. Whether it's Thomas Shelby, Patrick Bateman, or so-called edgelord characters like Joko or Eren Yeager. Edgelord characters are particularly popular within...
I lowered the video audio. Hope it's better. Bro, sometimes I just wish the Allies had just gone through the Morgenthau plan. At least they would didn't have a reason to stay bullshit. Like they want Germany to perish. Obviously, they didn't want it. Otherwise, it would have been erased. Yeah, pretty much.
Themselves because they see themselves in them. You know, the misunderstood outsider of society who are the actual victims. Or just straight up Nazi Superman. Edgelords break taboos or cross boundaries to provoke, often through sarcastic, dark humor. This mindset is clearly reflected in their visual aesthetics. That's why it's common to see references to provocative imagery involving extreme figures like Nazis, mass shooters, or serial killers in incel subculture. These are often used to grab attention to epically trigger snowflakes who take everything too seriously. The dehumanizing ideology of incels is especially visible in the cartoon-like portrayals of racist offensive caricatures like Chads, Janks, or Tyrones. These exaggerated figures may come with a tone of ironic dark humor, but are clearly ill-intended and just plain cruel. The caricatures closely resembles anti-Semitic cartoons or other forms of dehumanizing propaganda from the past. Unlike the Nazis, who used eugenics to justify racial hierarchies, incels used eugenics to measure attractiveness based on external traits. This reinforces the fascist...
Because most hierarchies are so inherently unnatural, they have to just invent shit. Okay? That's why I call fascists people who play D&D IRL. With people dying, of course. Okay? So if you're trying to build some fucking crazy sex hierarchy amongst which men get laid and don't, and want to build it up as categories inside of a hierarchy, you got to invent a bunch of shit. If you want to build a racial hierarchy between all the ethnicities, you got to just quite literally invent a bunch of shit. This is all completely invented shit. And that's what you got to play at. And that's why it's so inherently unscientific. Because... Because the idea that you can group people based on social or ethnic characteristics without introducing the economy in any way, shape, or form is unscientific.
Tone of their visual symbolism, the value of a human being becomes quantifiable. The higher your attractiveness, the higher your worth. I was actually trying to avoid the topic of incels because this frankly seems like a bottomless pit. The aesthetics of incel ideology deserve their own deep dive, so I'll be covering that in a future video. In a nutshell, men and women believe in fixed hierarchies in society. They have scorn for women, glorify violence, emasculate men, see themselves as victims, talk about conquering women, are fundamentally anti-feminist, justify or belittle assault, hate queer people, and love minors?
Yes. They're all pedos always. Yeah. But yeah. So what did we learn, chat? We learned it's again about hierarchy. Inventing a bunch of shit. You can invent it with ethnic hierarchies, racial hierarchies, gender hierarchies, hierarchies within those racial or ethnic or gender categories. Or you can invent a completely new thing. People with black hair, doesn't matter what race, are the superior ones. People with ginger hair or blonde hair, doesn't matter the race, are inferior ones. You build up your little D&D lore. You motivate enough people to pick up guns and go and kill people that have different colored hair, and you're going to have a hair genocide, okay? You're going to have hair bigotry. You're going to have hair-based discrimination. That's why it's so fucked up, because it plays on the most basic tribal fucking instincts by taking them into hyperdrive through unironically like relatively interestingly developed lore that people end up killing each other. The fascists going to war are people who go kill other motherfuckers over invented lore. Okay, there's no difference between two dudes getting into a fist fight over who is better, Slaanesh from Warhammer 40k or Nurgle from Warhammer 40k, okay? Two dudes fighting each other over those two fictional chaos gods from a fictional universe are as rational as two dudes fighting each other on the basis of race, right? or on the basis of their perspective of who is superior, women or men, or any of the more invented categories like fucking level 5 Gooner versus level 17 pristine gym bro.
I am so done with the manosphere, man. Let's just move on. What's next?
Someone from the Balkans explaining hierarchies is like a grandmaster teaching you chess. Well, I'm glad you think so. On this particular topic, I really believe I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, no.
Ah, fucking gamers, no, god fucking damn it. There you go. Gaming is a perfect example. It's a perfect example of what I was telling you. Like you can take a consumer culture, which I'm a gamer, but it's a consumer culture. It's nothing more, nothing less, okay? People that enjoy le videogame. And then you can make it into an identity point. And then you can say there's people that are ruining your le videogame. So let's all come together and fuck them up, right? Then you sprinkle it with gender identity. You sprinkle it with ideological currents, and you have a perfect shitstorm. It's all fake. It's all 100% fake. It's all so fucking fake. How do people not see through this? As a Bronze King gamer, I had to create my own leftist BIPOC server to get away from these manosphere creeps. I can absolutely understand you. And I banned so many people. There you go. Means that there was need for you to do it.
Yeah, I know. We're all tired of Gamergate.
And we're all tired of ads, so subscribe and avoid the ad that is going to play in exactly 40 seconds. Become a subscriber, which makes you a child soldier in the great and unexcusably superior genociding intention of our army against disgusting, dirty, reactionary gamers. TLDR, if you subscribe, you become a child soldier, and being a child soldier means you are part of the anti-gamer squad, and you can be a gamer and part of the anti-gamer squad. It's called being self-critical. Support the show, help us reach our today's as close as possible to today's goal, and blah blah blah. Jesus, I hate doing this fucking grift shit. Yeah,
me too.
But yeah, subscription good, ad bad. Gamers bad, but sometimes chill.
But if you want to talk about far-right aesthetics, we can't ignore the most ridiculous, embarrassing, and stupid corner of the internet. One that heavily overlaps with the manosphere. Gamers. It's pointless to try and have a political conversation with many male gamers since they will insist they're totally apolitical. They just want to keep politics out of the games. Right? Steve Bannon? You can activate that army. They come in through Gamergate or whatever and then get turned onto politics and Trump. If you're part of a fandom or a gamer and chronically online, you've definitely seen these thumbnails, right? Very similar to the ones floating around in the manosphere bubble. Women in these thumbnails are often emotionally hysterical or hypersexualized. Or it's Rachel Zegler? These apolitical, edgy, basement-dwelling free speech warriors just want to protect the last sacred safe space for men. A place that's safe from being feminized. The last...
Everything can be used as a unifying reactionary identity by fascists. That is their greatest strength, and if there's something that you should learn from this video and today's coverage, that's exactly it. If they can make the identity of I play le videogame into something, okay, into something that can be militarized and used for a social and political movement, then motherfucker, absolutely everything can. So yeah, I can't wait for the crooked teeth people going to civil war against the straight teeth people in a couple of decades. Can't wait for the big noses to be fighting the short noses, okay? Can't wait for the cat people shooting across the street at the dog people. You could unironically make whole fascist ideologies based on those categories. It is that absurd.
Manly refuge, where real men can still be men. Real men.
And I'm so tired of the world being dictated by emotions and feelings, and we have to accept everybody even though they don't accept us. And this new era is just a bunch of fucking pussy limp dick soy balls. Due to this all being resurfaced by Hassan,
Блядь. And subscribe. Oh. Oh man. Oh.
I suppose I will no longer be interacting with my father in any way, shape, or form on my stream.
So, how does this protectors of masculinity visually manifest?
Oh, but you're gonna fucking get a PDF, a fucking pedophile. You're gonna get a predator. He's a He's a proven pedophile.
Shut the fuck up. Who are these fucking weirdos, man? Whew.
Memes, anime, and pop culture characters.
It's like memeing into existence a government agency.
And then speaking to the internet the way it likes to be spoken to, which is memes, actually.
The left can't meme.
Harris' campaign was trolling Trump.
They're already trolling him. He has been trying to troll the city back as much as he believes he's been trolled.
It's epic trolling, shall we say.
Just makes trolls like myself very happy.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much.
Bro, propaganda back then actually kind of slapped, but now we have this.
Literally what I was gonna say. 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 Oh my god. Okay, you have like let me give you a contrast. 1 second. Okay, you got this versus wait. 1 second. Okay, you have this. Both cringe, don't get me wrong. Versus this. Okay. So, fascists back in the day, or at least what they wanted to look like, okay? Okay? Fascists today.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
Okay? Okay, both suck, don't get me wrong. But come on. At least they had suits and shit. Like, for fuck's sakes. Oh, at least they didn't smell weird, you know? Right before the Nazi general walks into your village and executes you, at least he's fucking, you know? Oh, not annoying about it. It's so funny because the game was ass because of none of those. Yeah. Enshittification of propaganda.
Du wirst abgeschossen.
They especially love using Wojak memes, like the stoic men who don't get triggered unlike those liberal SJW soy boys.
which they post under, which they post as a comment under posts that trigger them, of course.
Which is so fucking ironic. There's the NPCs, the chats, the soy faces, and so on and so on. And just to show you how painfully uncreative the right usually is, they constantly recycle the same old memes over and over and over again. Doge, Laser Red Eyes, Thug Life, Epic Troll, and dear God, if someone is still unironically using Pepe the Frog outside of a streaming context, it's a massive red flag. The fascist appropriation of Pepe has been
it's a bit like you fucking oversensitive in my opinion, but okay.
thoroughly documented, and it's still a favorite among white supremacists and incels.
Yeah, red eyes are also reclaimed, and to an extent Pepe has also been reclaimed. I don't fucking know. I never got this this whole like but whatever.
The Groyper version especially. But Wojak memes are currently the newest victims of appropriation, which frustratingly is pretty smart. Like, try explaining to someone who's not online all the time that a fucking frog or Wojak could be a Nazi symbol.
There you go. Okay.
They understandably think I've lost my damn mind. What the fuck is Wojak? Solarpunk, Trump is Jesus, Jim Bros, Brie Larson, gamers, fucking memes, and now anime.
Animation. All my manga is 100% white, Aryan, and pure. Let's fucking go. No black pixels in my goddamn anime, you fucking Jews. Said by 90% of 4chan at this point.
Let's make this very clear again. Just because you like some of the same things a fascist would like, doesn't mean you're fascist. Nor am I implicating you are one. I love gaming, anime, and Star Wars too. But, bro, how am I not supposed to talk about anime aesthetics when you constantly see this kind of shit? What another creator, the Cover Knuckle, noticed is that a particular subgenre of anime is especially popular in these circles. Mo anime girls. Cute, innocent, mostly underage, sometimes sexualized anime girls. Now, we're getting...
Yeah, it's just another step of the fucking fascist staking a particular subgenre or subculture or aesthetic and turning it into theirs. Blah, 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 blah. Rah, 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 complex analysis. Blah, 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 blah.
Getting into the really weird stuff. Putting aside the pedo vibes, this kind of cutesy aesthetic whitewashes all meaning. Suddenly, friendly fascism becomes quite literal. Anime aesthetics are perfect for whitewashing, softening or trivializing imagery that would normally be seen as fucked up. It once again shields itself behind irony and dark humor to delegitimize criticism. This entire nerdy online bubble is so bizarrely fascinating to watch, because they're so hyper online, so niche, that even the people who agree with the ideology still find them ultra weird.
Yeah, biological value to create human offspring. Exactly. Like that's a lot of women's, like women have like an intrinsic innate value because they can have kids. And so whenever they're older and they're not able to have kids, or for whatever reason, that's not really as viable, then their biological value goes down in the eyes of a lot of guys. That's it. Yeah, beauty's their whole selling point. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, the kid from The Last of Us isn't enough for us anymore. Hollywood's gone too woke ever since Harvey Weinstein left. Like, listen to yourself.
The movie stars are not as attractive anymore. I think women got uglier in movies.
What's up, Maple?
Movies ever since Harvey Weinstein left.
Yo, that's almost Andrew Tate level bar.
Games and movies aren't dying or under threat because of black Jewish trans women who are over 18 you don't want to fuck, or Brie Larson or pronouns. You are being manipulated and used by greedy corporations, grifters, and politicians, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, they're manipulating you, unlike me, who's not manipulating you when I tell you to subscribe for $6 a month or for free through Prime and support their show in a very non-manipulative way in order to avoid ads, which are used as a very non-manipulative pitch to you in order to get more money and make the show more sustainable in a very non-manipulative way. Look. Wait. Yes, there you go. Okay. 1 second. Copy. How the fuck do I copy them there? No. No. Stop moving. Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay? I'm not manipulating you. Oh my God, remove yourself from my existence. There you go. I'm definitely not manipulating you right now. Definitely don't press that button. Don't take out that debit card. Okay, that's the grift for this hour. I'm not doing that again. Hey, Hugo, can you manipulate? Yeah, look, it is anime girl. Even though this is not really anime style, this is like Western style of drawing anime. But that's the only one I could find that's holding subscribe. Jokes on you that made me sick. Sick as fuck, you wanna say? Yeah. Oh, Lord. The things a Twitch streamer will do.
This can't get any stupider. Right?
All my niggas, Nazis, nigga.
Okay, I'll be real. Guys, listen. I'm Jewish. You guys know that. Hitler was a great leader. What he did was wrong. I obviously but he was a good leader.
What does a fascist mean?
It means you are a far right authorization ultranationalist. Oh my God.
Yeah. This
when you tell people you're on Twitch and everybody thinks that you're doing whatever that guy was doing.
Definitely needs
and then you have to stop them and tell them no. I'm far less popular than that. What's worse?
Full video of its own.
You just know that someone showed him this video, like an intern showed him this video, and he's like, post that shit legit. But sir, it's AI generated. Post that shit right now. This was a spontaneous post. There's no way this wasn't a spontaneous post.
It's finally here. Trump gods are shining bright. Golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump gods are number one. Trump gods are shining bright. Golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
This is, unsurprisingly, the wet dream of the far right. Unoriginal, unappropriative, and hostile. AI is the pinnacle of all of it, not a shred of originality or creativity. So, of course, fascists love using it. What a lot of people notice especially, politicized AI slop is almost exclusively used by right-wing actors. But why?
Oh, this one was a classic. This one was a classic. You know, another classic is, wait. This one happened today. This one happened today.
They can be.
In Russia, you would be arrested. Von der Leyen tells a protester as he's being arrested.
They are a free country, like Finland, where the free speech is a right, where they have not any restriction. If they would be in Moscow, they would be in jail in 2 minutes. Thank God we have a democracy. Thank God we have free speech. We can.
This video is incredible. I think the person who posted this is problematic, probably. But I don't give a shit. This video is fucking incredible, dude. Like, this is art. How did this slip through, man? Meanwhile, in Germany shuts down pro-Palestine conference in Berlin.
To stop the video. Everyone keep calm, please. Don't give them any reason to be violent. Everybody calm down. Shame on you. Shame on you.
We're doing this on purpose to intimidate Palestinian voices.
Wo unser Teilnehmer
Jeez, they really love their fucking uniforms, don't they? Lord. This was last year, yeah.
Gareth Watkins argues that generative AI models primarily attacks copywriters, graphic designers, or artists, jobs associated with young, educated, urban, and often left-leaning workers. Imagine the White House hiring an artist to giblify on a crying immigrant getting handcuffed by ICE agents. Ridiculousness aside, why should they waste any state resources when they can do this for free? There isn't just an utter contempt for art in general, but also for people and labor, creating depthless imagery that yields only the reading that its creator intended. No room for interpretations, self-reflection, or any value that typically comes from actual art. Grok, is this true? One of the reasons why I called
that was a great bit.
Nazi art soulless and empty in meaning in my previous video is their absence of soul and thought-provoking avant-garde bravery. Like the Italian futurists had, they instead insisted on the same heroic, romantic, conservative optics that were close to classical Greek and Roman art, the same realist, classicist slop over and over again, reproduced to death. Using art as a politicized weapon to reinforce norms and national myths into society. But hey, at least an actual skilled artist was involved in the making of those pieces. And as flat and propagandizing the art maybe was...
Yeah, now you don't even need a propagandized artist or an overpaid artist that will sell their soul in order to create shit for you. You just fucking run it through an algo, dude. And especially because you know that your like mostly reactionary audience doesn't really give a fuck about the fact that it's been ran through an algo. So they're like, yeah, man, look at this funny photo. I have a Michelangelo's David with a clown nose shirt. The more fascist I see, the more I love the shirt.
At least it looked good. And Leni Riefenstahl is to this day being taught in film schools. Where are far-right artists now? Today, the same reproduction of politicized art can be made at mass scale, without the use of any artists whatsoever. The right-wing aesthetic project is to flood the zone with bullshit in order to erode the intellectual foundations for resisting political cruelty. AI co-ops art and is perverting it. The ultimate...
I mean, you don't even have to go that deep. Like, like just these organizations, they're not really good at thinking up chill fucking posters that they have to explain to a designer to do. And most likely if a designer is working for a fascist org, they're pretty bad at it. So they both save money and they can skip out on their lack of creativity by just writing in a prompt. Like it's sometimes that easy. The explanation is that simple.
A new child soldier, subscriber.
Thank you, Psychedelic Comic Canuck, for the 4 months, my friend. Thank you very much for the support.
The weapon of aestheticization. The original artworks the AI models are trained on are being endlessly and endlessly reproduced, therefore softened, diluted, until the substance of the original piece is completely rinsed out. Historical events, fascist ideologies, even war crimes or genocidal fantasies are being transformed into superficial, aestheticized content. Everything is made beautiful. The obscene is being normalized. Everything becomes Tumblr core slop. And we're still in the very early stages of AI content. The pinnacle will be deepfakes. Once deepfakes become normalized, we'll have reached the final stage of total meaninglessness. Deepfakes are the ultimate tool of oppression.
In a September 2019 survey, researchers at DeepTrace found that of the deepfake videos they could identify online, 96% were pornographic.
It's going to get real ugly. Memes, AI slop, pronouns, like, we've lost our sense of shame. Nothing is obscene anymore. And if anyone gets offended, just say it was edgy, ironic humor. At least fascists in the past had the f***ing balls to be honest about it.
You're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey,
What can I say?
I think you can say I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why? I don't want you here.
Has our reality really become Reddit? Or worse, 4chan? Look at this clown and tell me he's not the embodiment of Reddit. But Musk and Trump are just symptoms of our time. A mirror reflecting how the world works. Narcissistic.
Speaking of fascist aesthetics, have you ever seen Thomas Kinkadee's hidden collection? No. It's really actual art, and you can see why he drank himself to death. He spent his whole life painting nothing but nationalist, colonialist, Americana slop propaganda from hotels, and you can tell in his private collection it ate at him. He knew what he was doing was evil and white supremacist, which is why he killed himself, in my opinion. Especially for an artist realizing that your work, your whole life's work, was inherently hollow, that's tend to kill you. So yeah, there's a chance.
Rich white men grifting their way to the top only to hoard even more wealth and power for themselves. The most powerful country on earth is now basically a content house. Everything is content now. A spectacle. Masking politics through...
I've been talking about this for a while now. A potential war between the United States and Iran, and a real, 14-day war between Israel and Iran, was ended not by the President of the United States of America reaching out to the executive bodies of Iran or of Israel, but by posting about it. He posted that it's over, and his post made it such. Our posting president. The last step of a 14-15-day conflict was content. That's crazy.
Through optics and emotionalization in order to make it suitable for mass consumption. We truly live in the dumbest timeline imaginable.
Have they trained alligators to actually hunt the inmates? Is Tom Homan riding around in a fan boat? Is Donald Trump in the watchtower with a pair of binoculars?
And the worst part, it fucking works. Turning everything into ironic, memeable content has made everything meaningless. The restraints on fascist rhetoric are gone. The previously unthinkable is now normalized. No shame, no consequences. And no wonder no one takes you seriously when you call something fascist. Because you're right, it has lost its meaning. Which is the point.
Pretty much, yeah.
One key aspect of friendly fascism is the distraction from class war to culture war. Because we remembered. Fascist victimhood drives away from material conditions to a narrative that's mostly based on emotions, scapegoats, and conspiracies. And what better way to hand out megaphones to the working class to express their frustrations than with the use of social media? This is the perfect megaphone, as expressions can now be monetized, more manipulated and controlled via algorithms, AI bots, or outright censorship by insecure CEOs. We now live in a deeply, mutually dependent globalized economy that forces fascism to change its tactics. It can't appear as militant and loud as before, that's too obvious. The rising influence of private companies and therefore unelected...
Yeah, and it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. The militant pitch of the Nazis was just what worked at the time. You can have unironic soft fascism that eventually does turn hard, which can pretty much do the same thing. Fascism is not a strategy, it is a methodology.
Officials in politics slowly replaces the interests of the people into the interest of profit. Within the framework of friendly fascism, this culture war is not merely reactionary rhetoric, but a structural tool of governance. By mobilizing cultural anxieties and moral panics, an authority-oriented worldview is normalized. one that increasingly influences media, education, academia, and jurisprudence. This dynamic gives rise to a form of soft authoritarianism. While democratic structures remain intact, they are substantively hollowed out through normative pressure, production of enemy images, and discursive polarization. To achieve higher profits, nations are now seen as businesses with privatized military-industrial complexes. In order to maximize profits, the working class needs to be repressed as much as possible to extract the maximal amount of capital out of their labor. Cheap production, higher profits. That means
exactly. You gotta take everything. You gotta take all the breadcrumbs that you've given to the masses because you have to privatize them because you have no other alleyway left for the sewage water of capitalism to flow into when it comes to the private markets. So you have to turn all public goods and services into private markets, which then further radicalizes the wider population, which then either succumbs to barbarism or socialism. Those who do succumb to class consciousness and socialism and a materialist analysis of the world, you have to do something about. And you do something about it through violent, authoritative means. And that is the direct pathway from liberal capitalism into fascism, which is basically capitalism which does not shy away from the open use of force.
Means repressing unions, protests, deregulations, privatization, expanding police force, increasing surveillance, integrating the three separations of power, invading countries for resources, so far and so forth. Violence is now primarily executed with a gun, yet, but with paper, bureaucratic violence. Just look at Project 2025, the US healthcare system.
I have to disagree with him a little bit. It's not that fascism has lost its meaning, it's that fascism never had meaning to begin with. It just takes whatever can be used as a distraction from the class war and uses it to distract the uneducated masses. You are 100% correct, but you know that is why, like, that's why we have a word for it, in order to better identify it, etc., etc. Well, now identifying something as what it is no longer holds the same value as it has before. That's basically a speech. While you are correct, you know, that I don't think it's a disagreement. You're just missing a slight point of the relationship between a definition and its use value.
Or basically any asylum process or unemployment help. To soften or rather distract from a negative image, corporates use woke virtue signaling to promote their inclusivity and allyship. Corporates knowingly or unknowingly help fascist movements to flourish, as long as it protects their capital. Why else do you think Musk supported only far-right parties in Europe? Fascism, with the help of an oligarchy, now comes in the form of boring, bland corporatism that slowly creeps its way into society. Neoliberalism needs fascism to survive. They go hand in hand, because we can literally see that this system doesn't work anymore. Global crisis, inequality, war and suffering are at the rise because neoliberalism is not a sustainable model. The top 1% of the world's population own more wealth than 95% of humanity. 95. Each one of us is losing trust in the system, and therefore in democracy. According to the Leipzig authoritarianism study in 2024, only 42% of people in Germany are still satisfied with democracy as it functions. That's a drop of 15% since 2022. And in East Germany, that number plummeted from 53.5% to 29.7%. Meanwhile, racist attitudes in the West jumped from 12.6% to 19.3%. In the East, it's still high at 31.5%. And around 1 in 5 people are now openly showing sympathy for authoritarian alternatives like dictatorship or a strong male leader. Fascists exploit this by tapping into the collective frustration. They amplify the feeling of despair and offer people an outlet for their rage. But actually helping people would destroy the breeding ground for fascism. That hasn't changed since the past. In the 1920s, mass image production became possible for the first time. A powerful
Everybody go give Ray a follow.
propaganda tool for fascists. Today, we see a similar phenomenon: the internet. And don't even get me started again on AI. The aestheticization of politics has proven its power once again, whether in the 1920s or today. We are witnessing in real time the shift into a post-factual world where fairy tales and horror stories with dangerous monsters have become the new reality. Again, step by step, the tracks are being laid to build a society ready for violence. A society eager to restore traditional masculinity, revive national pride, and troll the enemies of the people.
Or any other category, that they can find to be useful. He mentioned really well in the beginning of the video that, for example, in the United States, an identity that is really useful is, for example, religious identity, which you can exploit for reactionary purposes by telling you, by them telling you that there is a glorious path to be won through the pursuit of violent means that protect your particular identity, and vice versa, that there is a great hell to be avoided if you only stood taller.
But friendly fascism is fading away. It has become more bold, louder, more aggressive. The snake has finally begun to show its face again, and we are doing nothing. We have been completely desensitized. Hitler and Mussolini were connecting themselves to history in order to achieve an immortal legacy that is remembered as glorious and intimidating. Today's fascism comes with a corporate, memeable, ironic wink.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
Every cult needs enemies to sustain the constant feeling of victimhood and revolutionary progress. Defining in-groups and out-groups is crucial in every fascist ideology, otherwise the illusion of righteousness would fall apart. Everyone is out to get you, to destroy the beautiful thing you're being part of, to destroy your cause, to destroy your leader, to destroy what you love, your country, your culture, your identity, and your life. There's always one conspiracy after another. Fascists are spreading the belief that strict, unchangeable natural hierarchies exist, based on race, gender, or culture.
Or anything else, or literally anything else.
The ones
or
on
anything.
Top, the
IRL, D&D.
Supremacists will decide your worth.
Thank you, Cigar Full of Dynamite, for the 10 months, my friend. Superior culture is when rat alarm clock. Is when wall covered in blood, is when tooth literally be falling out, is when 90% of body odor is that of a literal fucking jungle gorilla.
If you're feminist, refuse to be a tradwife, or have slept with more than one man, you are already used and undesirable.
The feel when we control your bodies. Hey, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. It's your body, my choice. We will keep you down forever. You will...
But that's the funny thing. Throughout history, they never managed to. We will keep you down forever. Usually, they end up in cockpits. They end up strung from every single beautiful pole in whatever city that they occupied or ruled for a very long time. That's the irony with reaction. They react themselves to death. They push and they push and they push and they push, and then the reaction to said pushing ends up being bullets, ends up being swords, ends up being pits. Okay? Thank you, Gremlo. You're coming in right at the perfect moment, my beautiful Raiders. Welcome in. Thank you, Grem, for the raid. Everybody give Grem, a dear, dear friend of the show, a follow right the fuck now, or you are not my friend. Welcome in, guys. We're talking fascism. We're watching a very good video, The New Aesthetics of Fascism, and it's pretty good. It underlines and overviews the many different ways, different identities are utilized nowadays as a means to introduce an alternative analysis of alienation to that of socialists and anarchists and progressives in general, to one of in-group versus out-group mentality and constant fighting. So yeah, welcome in. Hope you're having a great day, and I hope Graham had a great day as well. Give me a follow if you're interested in this type of shit. And if anyone was considering gifting subs, now would be a great time to make our beautiful new chatters feel as welcome as possible. Thank you in and welcome in. Mussolini, this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. Absolutely.
Again, and yes, we control your bodies. It's your body, my choice. We will keep you down forever.
But you will not. That's the whole fucking point. You will not. Okay? This is a Band-Aid on a tumor that is slowly eating us out from the inside. And that Band-Aid is simply killing as much time as possible so that the tumor can develop. I'm talking about the fascist Band-Aid, the barbaric Band-Aid to the capitalist poison. And eventually, throughout every single instance of our people's history, and by our peoples, I'm speaking about our motherfucking species, we have eventually gotten over it. I'm not just talking about World War II. I'm talking about every empire, every colonizer, every class dynamic in which one steps on the other. Eventually, fires rose so fucking high. Eventually, contradictions piled up until we could no longer see the sun. And motherfuckers started falling out of windows. So let them do their little LARP for as long as possible, because that's what every single reactionary government and system and movement is. LARPing that they can keep progress at bay. LARPing that there is no better tomorrow. LARPing that the past is preferable to the future. They will LARP their way into the grave, as they always had throughout history. This is not me warning anyone with my violence or chat's violence or with violence in general. This is me just unironically telling them that they're digging it for themselves. Because every single emperor, every single reactionary, every single member of our species that throughout our history thought that they can keep the boot on our neck forever, ended up, without legs. Thank you very much, Oblivious the Whole, for the gift sub. That is very kind of you, my friend. Thank you very much.
You will never control your own bodies. Your body, our choice.
This will reduce your worth. If you produce art, content, or other forms of creative expression that don't align with right-wing ideals, are no longer labeled as entartete Kunst, but are instead branded as woke. Anyone who challenges conservative social values is automatically considered woke, a neo-Marxist, a communist, a beta sheep. This will reduce your worth.
And there was a wisdom in what Richard Nixon said approximately 40, 50 years ago. He said, and I quote, "The professors are the enemy."
If you're an academic or professor, part of the entertainment industry, or a politician who doesn't submit to the president, you are seen as part of the deep state, the elites, and are therefore labeled as communists, globalists, Freemasons, or satanic pedophiles. This will reduce your worth. If you're part of the queer community, you will be seen as sick, perverted, and pedophilic. Again, this will reduce your worth. If you don't have a full functioning body or mind, your genetics are seen as broken or infected that needs to be dealt with. This will reduce your worth. If you're black or an immigrant, you will be seen as barbaric, aggressive, and unintelligent. This will reduce your worth.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. Like, it sounds really shitty, but like, I think that Israel should just draw up its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place.
Thank you, Toasty, for the gifty. And yeah,
I'll
let them speak for themselves.
Really shitty, but like, that's about where I'm at.
If you're a Muslim, you will be seen as anti-Semitic, barbaric, and a terrorist. Ever since 9/11, and now with the extermination of Palestinians in Gaza, the dehumanization and death toll of Muslims worldwide have rapidly grown. This will definitely reduce your worth.
I saw in Auschwitz that if a dominant group wants to dehumanize others, so as the Nazis wanted to dehumanize me, these dominant group must first be dehumanized in a way themselves by diminishing their empathy due to propaganda and
the one dehumanizing also gets dehumanized, for he removes every aspect that makes the human experience beautiful from his understanding of the world. He creates fictional lore that he dedicates his whole life to. Racial hierarchies, ethnic hierarchies, gender hierarchies, blue eyes versus brown eyes hierarchies, tall versus short hierarchies, cat mums versus dog mum hierarchies. They're all equally absurd. Motherfuckers willing to die, but more importantly and more disgustingly, to kill based on fake ass lore. That's what makes it so pathetic. It's rooted in nothing. It is empty, which makes their souls as empty once they pursue it. Are you familiar with Professor Yehoshua Leibovitz? He is an Israeli professor that coined the term Judeo-Nazi for Israeli Zionists back in the late 80s and early 90s. Very interesting. Thank you for contextualizing. If you have morals, you cannot hurt other humans. So these groups you hate must become animals for your ideology to be logical. Yeah, or even your entire moral compass can be redefined, which to an extent you are saying as well. You know, you can just alter your morals, or you can, still consider yourself holding classic morality, but that one that does not apply to the dehumanized category, for they are not the same as you.
Indoctrination. I am appalled about how hateful, how dehumanized, that they do not see any human aspect in any Palestinian anymore. It's terrible. The Zionists have not any right whatsoever to use the Holocaust for any purpose.
And if you are Jewish, you could be, again, seen as a parasite that conspires against your people. The murder of 6 million people, you and the generational trauma you suffered will be weaponized by the people in power to justify the war crimes and genocide, resulting in a surge of modern anti-Semitism. Again, this will reduce your worth. One of the most naive mistakes is the belief that you yourself would be safe under a fascist regime, no matter how much you submit to the state. One question will always linger in your head. Am I safe?
Incredible video. You have the link pinned in chat. Please go and subscribe for obvious reasons, because it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. One second, I'm sending something unrelated. Ah, fuck you. Oh, wow. That was great. That was great. Great conversation that we managed to have. Ben Horman, I will repost the link in a beautiful, beautiful chat. There we go. Go and subscribe right now. Now I have to run. I have to run. I will send you guys over to who do I send you to? Who do I send you to? Who do I send you to? Who do you want me to send you to, huh? Let me send you to Rob. I haven't sent you to Rob in a second. Rob sounds good. Rob, bro. Right. Say hi to Rob for me. I love Rob. Thank you to everyone who subbed. Thank you to everyone who followed. I will see you on Sunday. I'm going to be driving all day tomorrow. It's going to be fucking annoying. So yeah, say hi to Rob. Thank you for everything you do for me. Thank you for hanging out with me. Today's session was genuinely very informative. I think we all learned a little bit, all developed our theoretical understanding of fascism. It was a very chill. Drive safe, 10 and 2, no drinking. Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. Okay, bye-bye, beautiful people. Mwah. BB, fuck you, BB.